This episode of Designers of the Worst is brought to you by Drunk Orson Welles, attempting to record a champagne commercial. The French champagne, it's always been celebrated for its excellence and its vintage dated. Fermented in California and tested in my mouth, Chateau du Wells. Let's drink to the show.
Hello, everybody. It actually didn't even start recording until I said hello. Welcome to Designers of the Worst. It's your new least favorite show about an exclusively visual medium cleverly brought to you in an audio format. And...
They call me Jose!
And I'm Mark.
Jose! And I'm Mark.
It's true.
It's true.
I love the addition of these fucking audio clips. They're so great. I didn't know that was happening, so
No.
I really appreciate that at all.
Yeah, I saw on my Apple Music the other day. It's
Yeah.
like, stuff in your collection has new stuff out. And Lonely Island's Bash Brothers put out the album.
Yeah, they came out the day they released it on Netflix.
Oh,
and so
I just saw it.
I started listening to them before I watched, and I stopped about 2 tracks in. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I have to watch the visual format
Yeah.
of this audio CD.
Yeah, which I listened
Which is
to
on there.
3 times today. It's only 25 minutes, so it's a digestible chunk, but
Oh yeah,
Mamacita, I like what I hear.
I mean it's the same formula that they do, but I like that formula, so I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, it's their
Silly lyrics,
funny honky rap, and I'm digging it.
some great lyrics. What's the one with the itty bitty sack part? That's
Oh, I think that's the one after this. It's yeah, I listened to that one
Yeah.
several times today. Oh, and then talking about it makes his dong look big.
yeah.
Lucky devil.
If you're unaware of it, it's the Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire story from when they played for the Athletics.
It's the unauthorized Bash Brothers experience, and I recommend it on throughout every medium.
Yes.
But
I would like to briefly talk about the intro before we get started and talk about the topic.
that's fair.
So I was on
Mescaline.
Netflix.
Yep.
And Mescaline. I just wrapped watching Stranger Things season 3, and I
that-
really enjoyed it.
Is any of that show? I've never seen any of it.
Second season's it's okay. The third season is, I consider the best. If you enjoy the 80s, it's fun. But either way, so David Harbour is in it, playing
Is that Hellboy?
Detective Hopper, who's Hellboy.
Who's sub Hellboy? He's no Perlman.
Hey! I like the new Hellboy.
He looks good,
He's great.
but the trailer looked like it was like a made-for-TV movie. It was too brightly lit.
It didn't do well in the theaters.
No.
I'll say that. So something popped up on Netflix, and it was a show called Frankenstein's Monster Frankenstein.
I like that.
And it's this weird, it seems like a Funny or Die production
Yeah.
with David Harbour discovering his, I can't remember if it's his dad's or his grandpa's old vault footage when he did this weird play about Frankenstein's monster Frankenstein. And I thought, wow, this feels like an Orson Welles thing.
Yeah.
It looks like they're trying to do an Orson Welles thing. And I thought it was crazy. And then I read a couple of reviews and then did a quick text search for Orson Welles, and other people thought that as well. So I was happy. So which led me to finding the Orson Welles champagne commercial that he's
Which is a treasure.
attempting to speak through. And when it goes take 1, he's kind of slumped over in a chair, and they're like, go, you gotta talk. And he's like, what? He's like, okay, take two. He's like, Chateau de France. And he just sits there and taps on the bottle. And then at the end of the video, they show the dubbed version of the commercial because that's what they did. They basically just like dubbed over it when he wasn't shit-faced.
Yeah.
And then used that as a commercial. It's hilarious.
Yeah, you should look that up. Or, we'll put a link to it on the website thing that we do. Because every man, woman, and child alive should need to see Orson Welles just shit hammered, getting paid how much money, and just pissing off an entire crew of people just wanting to go home.
Yeah.
It should have been like a 20-minute shoot, and I'm sure he made it take all day.
Yeah.
With naps and poops.
Another really enjoyable drunk celebrity is Joe Namath, the football player.
Yeah.
It was after he retired. He showed up, I think, at a game or a Super Bowl or something like that, and a female correspondent was interviewing him, and in the middle of her question, he just looks there and says, "I want to kiss you." And then they just cut the tape right there.
There's another football
Celebrities
one.
are great.
Oh crap! It was from I think late 70s. It was some like running back or something like that, and it was like the age where feminism was like becoming, a movement, and people are paying attention, being kind of sensitive to it.
Right.
So basically, they're interviewing this dude who they're asking him like, so when you really, really smoke someone and like really, really knock them down, like what's the secret? And he goes, well, anytime that you come up the side of a man or a woman, he's trying to be like PC in the 70s, but he just made it sound like he hits women.
That's classy.
Yeah. So
Today we have no guest.
No, our guest is the absence of guests, and I wanted one
Ghost.
because I got new equipment and I wanted to use it, which I still could have done.
Yeah, you splurged on the Amazon equipment and bought. We have extra mics. So we have 4.
We technically have 6.
Well, 4 arm control
Oh, yeah.
cranes,
Yep.
but only two snowballs mics.
Yep.
So
And that's
either
not
way,
the semen thing.
no, and
They don't spit anything back at us.
so either way, we're better equipped for multiple people now.
We're better equipped for when Alea comes back and basically leans out the window to talk, so we can just actually use the little mechano arm and point it right at her head, and we can just go for it.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today, speaking of, we weren't really complaining about anything. We were just talking.
Not yet.
I mean, yeah, so usually it feels like I've been complaining for like 3 weeks. But yeah, we're opening the vent.
It's a Festivus. It's a vent opening. It's a air your grievances. It's a, you know what? I'm ready to tear the shit down.
And look, in the corner, there's a bunch of, they look like aluminum poles. They're pipes full of wires.
It just reminds
Got
me
all
of,
kinds of them.
It just reminds me of Costco when they used to send the money through the tubes.
Oh, that was the only good part of going to Costco when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And
They
my
don't
dad
do
was
that
like,
anymore.
My dad was like, I'll buy you a 9-foot-long hot dog. They're $1. And I would do that.
Consider this your birthday and Christmas present.
Nope. That would indicate he knew when my birthday was.
Or Christmas.
Well, it'd be really funny if he did it on my birthday. Like, oh, it's today. Like, oh, Jesus. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about all the things that we can think of in, a tidy 4.5 hours, whatever we do. All the things that bug us. But Marcus had a good thought. Instead of just complaining like I normally do, try and think of a way to like turn it back on the problem, snake eating its own tail, and make work better.
Did I?
I think you wrote that in the show note in the ideas one.
Oh, I think I did because, yeah. But then when I started writing my list, it just became hateful. And it didn't. I mean, it is because I think about what I don't like and what I don't think works. And yeah.
Yeah, I started writing a list and I was like, well, these are coming off way too easy. I am just going to talk. I have like 5 things written down and I've given the past like couple months I've had, I will have no issue thinking of shit to complain about.
Wonderful. I would like to give an unsolicited, unpaid for shout out to Grammarly.
Grammarly,
I
accidental sponsor.
like, yeah, I had seen it, but then you told me about it, like how you used it, and man, it is just.
The app makes all the difference.
It's wonderful. Like, yeah, having the app installed and then like posting in large chunks of text.
Yep.
And just running through, you go, oh, yeah, I never even saw that or never thought about how that reads.
Yeah.
It's so good. If you use a computer, get Grammarly. It's wonderful.
And if you don't use a computer,
You should
how are you listening to this?
with the phone.
It's a computer. It's not a phone. I
Right.
never
But
use
there's
mine.
no Grammarly on iPhone.
No, there's not. Well, hashtag that one.
Yeah.
So,
So this episode is about grievances, but we will get to that.
yes, but I'm going to start with a continued grievance, a personal one. That stimuli company that took credit for my work.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag update. I checked out their site. I was riding the bus into work one morning, and I was like, oh, I wonder what those dildos are doing. And they, if you didn't listen to the last episode, they took credit for work
Wait.
I did.
Or the episode before that. Or the episode before that.
Yeah. Whatever. Hey, if you're just joining us, welcome.
If you haven't listened to season 2.
We have 9 stories, and we can't wait to tell them a lot. So anyway, I checked out their website because I heard no replies or anything to my public.
Persona.
Yeah, like I called them out on my Instagram and stuff and taking credit for, name I thought of for building, branding, blah, 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 a bunch of stuff. They had it listed as branding on their website, and it fucking ain't. So then I checked it out, and they took the branding down off of that project,
Oh.
but they still didn't acknowledge it. And I was like, well, this is just getting more and more delicious. So I
So obviously,
I did another post.
obviously they heard it or read it, which made them change.
Well, I tagged their company and 2 of the owners 2 times about it.
Right.
So then they took it down. Still not a word. But the hunt continues. Goddamn virtual office. I can't fucking go in there and start throwing stuff around.
I like these updates.
So tune in next time. Thanks, everybody.
I hope we get another hashtag update.
Oh, hashtag update.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. I can guarantee we will. So that was funny. More funny things is earlier in the week in the office that I work in, it's mega gigantic, and we really only occupy like a quarter of it with people. The quarter of it is like kitchen, dining room. There's a pool table and all that kind of stuff. Then the other half is just like abandoned. Like nobody uses it for like maybe the occasional meeting. But there are 2 offices back in the other corner. One of them is really nice, and it's been empty. There's a woman in there, but she would only come in like once every few weeks, and then she'd just been gone for months. So I messaged someone. I'm like, hey, does anybody use that office in the back? Because first of all, my side of the office is hotter than the devil's dick. It's so hot.
Because there's no air conditioning in here, right?
Yeah, and I'm gigantic and covered in fur, so I get
Hair,
hot.
sweater.
Hair shirt.
You're not
That's my
quite an
punishment.
otter and you're not quite a bear.
I don't know the class. Yeah, I got to get fat to be a bear.
Yeah, but you got to get real skinny to be an otter. So
Well, something to shoot for. Hashtag update
Hey.
on that one. So I messaged somebody and like, hey, can I use that office? And they're like, yeah, should be fine. So I went in. I got here at like 7:30 because I didn't want anybody to be like, hey, what are you doing? I just wanted it done by the time anybody got
Right.
into work.
So you moved all your stuff into there?
Yes, I completely cleaned that office. It was filthy as hell. I tried a bunch of different monitors in
So-
the office to see which one I liked best because I wanted to upgrade because I thought I deserve it.
So it obviously looked and felt like it hadn't been used in a long time.
There was a layer of dust on it as thick as a craft single.
Yum.
Yeah, so I scrubbed the entire thing. I moved everything around. It was looking great. Had the desk set up, transferred all my crap in there, and it was just like good. It's like right in the corner, and there are 2 windows you can open like on either side of the desk, like on a diagonal, so you get like air and all that stuff. So I wasn't like boiling to death. I got 3 songs into a Tim Armstrong album when someone knocks and like, yeah, you can't do this.
Why?
And I was like, how come? They're like, Some people use this for meetings sometimes.
That's horseshit.
And I was like, okay, there's 9 other meeting rooms. They're like, yeah, they're freaking out. So I was like,
Who's freaking out?
people that
Quote unquote people.
I didn't know they were using that office for meetings.
For
I hadn't
sex.
seen anybody in there meeting for sex or sex meetings.
Well, if you cleaned it, like if the desk had like a layer of dust on it.
The entire office did.
Right. So that means that nobody's using it because it takes time to accumulate that shit, especially if there's no airflow.
Or people are using it, and the people don't mind wallowing in the dust and dirt.
I worked in an office years ago, which we had adequate airflow, and you'd come back from the weekend and there'd be a layer of dust on your desk because of the amount of airflow.
Yeah.
But if that's happening in there and I know there's no airflow in this office, nobody's using it and they're just jealous.
You'd like to think so. But then
I believe so.
yeah, I got 9 minutes into an album, and I was working, and I was like, life's good. Everything's cool, and then I had to move it all out, and then now I'm back in the very hot side.
Okay, and so since that time, which was when?
That was Monday.
Okay, so it's whatever day it is today.
Sure is.
Depending when this episode comes out.
We record on Thursdays. They come out on Thursdays. It's always Thursday.
Yeah. So since that time, since Monday, have you seen anyone using the office?
For the rest of that day, a couple people had a meeting in there,
Or shit.
and then since then it's been empty.
Was the person who said that you can't use it because we use it for meetings, were they in that meeting?
No, the person who told me that is like there are 2 different companies on this floor. They're owned by the same company.
Right.
So somebody in the company that I work with, they're like, yeah, they're not really into this, and then just it was like a courtesy thing
So
to leave.
Is there another office you can take?
No,
Really?
they're all every like private thing has been deemed a common space now, except for the honcho. He's a nice guy. He's rarely here, but he has his office in the other corner. And he, being the head of the stuff, he gets the good
Right.
office. But yeah, I'll show you the office when we take the break, and you can give everyone a hashtag office update on how it would be a nice office. And the reason I wanted it not to be a dick and like move away from everybody, but it's hotter than hell on the other side.
Right.
I
'Cause
I
that
don't
side-
like working with headphones on all day.
But that gets sun all day long, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the heat's still on. It's crazy. It's summer and the heat's on.
Oh.
Like these heater things that I'm pointing at that no one that listening can see, they line the entire office, and on that side they're always on, and they're controlled by the building, not by us poor roasting bastards. So for 9 minutes I had an office, and I felt great.
Wow. Because you were just saying you don't like to listen to headphones or wear headphones all day.
Yeah, so this office has like a door, so like I put like music on, I can walk around. There's like the whole wall is a whiteboard. I can like map out because I'm doing a big site design build right now.
Yeah.
And like the timeline site, so I just like big working area, have music on. Like there's like a drawing table, a table I can draw on, and it felt good.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time in our past when we worked together that we would have a communal music playlist that would be playing, and it was great to just have stuff in the background because, wearing your headphones, you feel sometimes connected, like too connected, even if they're wireless.
Yeah.
But you don't want shit in your ears, like.
Yeah, it's just having the sound shot into your ears all day. It gets annoying.
Exactly, and playing it at your desk in an open office,
Yeah.
which has been shown to be less productive. And not good for working spaces.
And in that office, they do have that Sonos thing, but it's in the back corner, and all I can hear is it sounds like they're like suffocating Haley Joel Osment with like 4 pillows. It's like
Actually, dead people.
current day Haley Joel. He his head turned into a pumpkin, and he got like Kurt Russell's hair.
I see dead people. All of his bees are bah, bah, bah. I will have the burger.
Was that?
I see dead people.
So yeah, that was my office thing.
That's real shitty.
It was fine, and then It's funny because on the smaller office beside it, there's a guy who noticed. He's like, "Whoa, nobody uses that office," and he's been in there all week.
I
But
think
he's doing meetings. It's fair use. But
I feel like there's a way that you can move yourself in there slowly,
Yeah.
and just say that like you have book meetings and in that room
all day.
all day, and it's like
Yeah.
I need a work session. I'm gonna be in there all week, and then book it up, and
Yeah.
then never leave,
Yeah.
and then somehow get the lock changed.
So this is why I
Take a shit in there. What?
ate lots of toilet paper in the elevator around here. That's why the other day I messaged you and asked if George Costanza ever stole an office and just squatted in it, because I needed Costanza level guidance of how to just be in it. I know it always goes to shit for Sweet Georgie boy, but
And that's
there had
where
to be a way.
I couldn't recall because I know that they tried to barricade him out of the bathroom and he found his way in and locked.
Yeah.
But I know he slept in his office in the Yankees.
There's another one where he interviewed for the job. It ended like ambiguously. He didn't know if he got the job or not.
Right.
Then Jerry just said, "We'll just show up to work on Monday." So he just showed up and he just took an office and he did nothing all week.
Right. And he
But
also
it's not the same thing.
quit and then came back on a Monday, much like Larry David did in real life at SNL.
Yeah, and that is a great story.
It's wonderful. Well, that's too bad. I hope that you get an office because having some sort of privacy and actual working space when you're working on shit, and because I know where your desk is, and you have no
Privacy?
well, there's not a ton of walls that are right near you that you can use
No.
because they all have windows or other shit on them.
Yeah, and they're all brick, so it's not like you can.
Just nail stuff to brick.
No.
If you're strong
No,
enough.
Hey, hashtag update for fitness. So what's been going on with you? That's beside that with me. I just been trying to like argue with everybody on the street and then go home.
About what?
Anything. Everyone's an asshole, and I'm
Oh, I agree.
I just getting into everything.
I have a hobby of chatting with people who are protesting things that are ridiculous to actually get to the heart of things.
Yeah.
Because usually if you keep asking them questions, you find out the base of their quote unquote argument, and then they have nothing to stand on. And that's real fun for me.
Yeah.
Not to try and prove them wrong or prove that I'm right or anything like that or any righteous, but it's just fun.
Yeah.
To just destroy destroy somebody holding a sign by asking why. What's your issue here? What's going on? And then you go, do you have facts? Did you do this? And they go, oh, no. It's a hobby.
Crush them.
Anyways, what's been happening with me? Nothing. Just working. Just doing stuff. I got a vacation coming up, and I'm fucking excited.
So do I. I got 2 coming up. What are you doing?
I'm going to the Sunshine Coast. I'm going to Gibson's.
The
And
home of the guitar.
it's true. Les Paul Gibson's was born there.
Yep.
Danger Bay is from Gibson's.
Is that
It was a show, the
Oh, yeah.
CBC show. Danger Bay, classic. Molly's Reach is the restaurant or the cafe that's featured in the show that is there still. That is a tourist trap.
Well, enjoy that.
So that's what I got going on. I'm very excited about that. And then summer is going to be over soon.
Yeah.
We haven't had a real summer yet. It's been
shit.
mild, rainy, windy. It's been very climate changed.
It's been a summer in London.
Yeah. I sent you a couple things for this episode that I would like to show you and chat about.
Did you send?
Well, just one or two, maybe one. I don't like to send them to you prior because then you have a chance to see them first and foremost.
Oh, I won't ruin this surprise for myself.
It's just delightful.
All right.
Much like the audio clip. So the first item I sent you is something that really got my
Ground your gears.
it really got my design chub going. So
Oh, your fat dong.
yeah, my super wide, super short design dong.
Tuna can man.
Okay, so I don't remember how I came across this, but essentially I sent Matt this piece of art in Frankfurt, Germany, and it's an entryway to a subway station, but they put an old like train car basically coming out of the ground as
That's
the
really
entrance. And so I saw this and I was like, this is really what is interesting about public art.
Yeah.
And I find stuff like this totally amazing if you can fund cool projects like this. What I don't find amazing about public art is we have this breathtaking tulip canoe horseshit. In in one of our local squares.
Yeah.
And it does nothing for the public space, like the actual space that it's in. Whereas this is a piece of art in a public area, in a space that contributes to people talking about it, people looking at it, people enjoying it. It's really unique to see. And I really, really, really like it a lot.
Go to worstdesignshow.com and do the episode of whatever this one's going to be called, and we'll put up a link. But yeah, it's just like there's no point to it other than that looks cool and interesting.
Yeah, so like usually, like anytime I see larger art installations in a gallery, the first thing I think in my head is like, I'm not seeing like the overall scope of it. I'm just seeing like, it's a lot of string that somebody hung
or there's
over a week. And like, okay, it's just a larger version of this, but this is something that everyone can enjoy. Nobody should be offended by this. It's just there for everyone to see and be a part of.
So it reminds me of when I used to listen to the Adam Carolla podcast. He would complain about this all the time. It's this publicly funded art. It's called Piss Christ. I think it costs like $60,000 or something. Its Immersion is a 1987 photograph by the American artist and photographer Andre Serrano. It depicts a small plastic crucifix submerged in a small glass tank of the artist's urine.
Oh my God. Wait, and that costs $60,000?
I actually think I'm undercutting it. I'm thinking about the one in front of like the arena in Victoria where we are.
That thing
was $60,000. That thing looked like garbage got mad. It's fucking gross.
If metal and art could have a disability, that's what it would look like.
Yeah, that was
good. It's so bad that like everybody questions what's the point of it and who commissioned it. Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah,
it's controversy.
I was trying to find how much Piss Christ cost.
Well,
but Wikipedia,
and it's in a jar, right?
It's a crucifix submerged.
It's in a glass tank.
In a small glass tank filled with the artist's piss.
So, not still on the topic of commissioned art, but back in the day when Vice used to do hard edge news stories.
Yeah.
A coworker of mine shared with me something that they used to do called gross jar. And they used to put disgusting things in a jar and then let it sit there in the sun and get rotten. And gross jar.
Did they eat it or something?
No, it was. This is what I'm saying. Like it could be art, but it could be journalism. Who knows? But they
bullshit.
Put in gross jar number 2. They put in like a liter of skim milk, a raw chicken, scabs.
Fuck you, old McDonald, for
squandering
all your gifts. So, Piss Christ, Serrano, the artist, this is what he had to say about it. I had no idea Piss Christ would get the attention it did, since I met neither blasphemy nor offense by it. I've been a Catholic all my life, so I'm a follower of Christ. So naturally I submerged it in my own piss. And Piss Christ, we salute you.
Oh. Is it still kicking around?
I don't imagine anybody would have taken it anywhere other than back to that dude's house.
Maybe.
And then what does he go, well, it's just a lot of piss.
Better empty it or drink it.
Yeah, it's a good composting. So you sent me another thing.
The second thing I
will-
think I sent you is from a YouTube channel called Control Shift Face, and it's a person, I have no idea, or if it's a group, that have been doing deep fake videos for the purpose of entertainment, never for bad. We have to sign in to confirm your age. Oh my god! So this YouTube channel's
24.
done a bunch
Got it.
of videos of like showing Stallone on the face of the Terminator, but he's doing this series. I think he does 3 episodes of this, of putting Jim Carrey's face on Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
This is going to be all right.
But it's really good. It's so good. And he's working on one right now that's Bruce. He puts Bruce Lee's face on Keanu Reeves in The Matrix.
That's
And
all right. So,
But like when you look at it,
yeah, it looks exactly like
so it's not his
Jim Carrey.
voice,
no.
but it's when he starts talking, like it's incredible. And you go, I could rewatch this movie as with Jim Carrey in it if he played this role exactly.
So in a way, I wish I was living in the time where people were still trying to get to the moon, because I don't like that they can fake my face on anything or fake anybody's face on anything. It's too much, man.
Yes.
Hey,
Shelley Duvall.
weather
Looking
forecast said it's gonna snow tonight.
better than she does now.
Yeah.
That-
And rewatching these clips, aside from the enjoyment of this technology, and
Yeah.
Come on.
I like rewatching this, I really realized like I love a certain style of film,
Yeah.
and it's
I just want to finish my work.
I want to hear the ambient sounds. I want long shots
Like
of
that.
scenes.
Okay.
Like even in the
understand.
scene when Jack Nicholson's at the typewriter doing all work no play make Jack a dull boy, like
Right.
just the echo in that giant room,
Yeah.
like it doesn't sound like an intimate conversation. Oh fuck, that's so weird. They super put Jim Carrey's face on him, and it's like seamless.
Whenever you come
No.
in here and interrupt me, you're breaking my concentration. You're distracting me, and it will then take me time to get back to where I
But
was.
every little nuance he
Understand?
does, like, and so with deepfake, if you're unfamiliar with it, just look up YouTube and the shit that they've done with it. But it takes thousands and thousands of composites of the actual actor's face to superimpose it on
Yeah.
the real face.
It's kind of like a hi-fi Silence of the Lambs, where Lecter
Yeah.
just cuts that dude's face off.
That means don't come in.
Yeah, so you can't just take a picture of somebody and put it on there and make it look good.
Yeah.
There needs to be hours and hours of video footage of them from every angle, all these expressions to match it up, and it takes time for the processor to do it. But when you see it done well, it is fucking freaky.
This is like
It's great.
Mission Impossible
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Cruise level shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, there's another company I found on here that hired a Tom Cruise impersonator and did and did deep fake Tom Cruise on his face.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could tell it wasn't perfect, but it was still really interesting and creepy.
wow, go to the website, everybody. That was gnarly. I feel like I didn't talk very much through that because it was just insane to watch. Like,
It's weird to see it.
it's so well done that,
You're partially convinced that it is Jim Carrey.
like, if you showed that to somebody who had never seen The Shining,
Oh,
and they'd be like,
absolutely.
yeah, then what happens? You're like, it's Jim Carrey. You're like, yeah, so?
Yeah, like I would watch the version of just Jim Carrey's face on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, freaky, man.
Yeah.
Oh, and this also reminds me that the titles of The Shining.
Oh, they're incredible.
Yeah, they're just that insane typeface. And look, they even put Jim Carrey's face. Is that Fire Marshal Bill?
No, but it looks pretty
Are you
close
sure?
to- yeah.
He's got the.
Because he's got hair in that.
But oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Let me show you
It
something.
almost looks like Ace Ventura.
And
When he's
who's
saying, "All righty then."
and speaking of Matrix, this dude's a bit of a Neo. Control Shift face. He's
Yep.
well,
Probably a child who's making these.
another reason I wish I lived in the 50s when I was just be like, one day we'll get to Mars, and that's all I had to care about, and just
Come
wash
on,
my.
kids, crowd around. We got a calculator.
Don't bother mother, she's on pills.
It's a digital number machine.
Man, Back when it was okay to be a healthy white man, am I right?
And I'm out of here.
So yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. But as for what's going on, nothing much. Just working, just plugging away.
Just
doing stuff.
just deadlines being crushed.
We've got a really exciting news. No, it's not news.
It's a news. It's like a lays here.
This week is the Deuce Coupe days in Victoria.
Yes.
So I'm actually really excited about that. You sent me the link, and a couple other people have sent me a link because I spread the gospel of classic cars over new cars.
Spread the good word.
So I'm very excited on Sunday to go check out all the cars. Deuce cars are not my favorite.
Yeah.
Because that is a specific style of car.
Yeah.
But I've heard that there's like this only happens once every 3 years, and this is one of the biggest ones that they've had.
Yeah.
So
they have like 1,600 cars registered or something. And yeah, it's like if you're not in like my favorite style of cars are like 29 to like 31 Model T's, Model A's, like completely rat rotted, just like Mad Max looking fucked up cars, like the kind that like, you know, they have a raccoon tail on the antenna and all that. That's my favorite. So I'm so stoked to see tons of those and just all the hand painted jobs and just like all the attention to detail. Like I don't like the shiny ones. I like the fucked up ones.
right.
But you're totally right in that they also have, you know, like I think they had like 500 coupes register. And so there's going to be a bunch of those. But yeah, there's also like 900 other cars, like old Impalas and shit and British stuff.
I'm
and
really, really, really hoping to see a Charger, an old Dodge Charger or a Chevy Nova. At some point, those are two cars that like
we're family.
That's a Charger.
That's
I did
my
not
favorite
like that version.
movie when Groot was driving a car.
The Nova though was made partially famous by the movie Death Proof. It was Stuntman Mike's car.
That one of two cars.
Yeah, and then the other white car was a Charger in that movie.
Oh, the one they got
fucking
from
love that
Vanishing
movie.
Point, whatever.
Yeah, that movie I love that. It's so good.
I've never seen Planet Terror because it looks like a nightmare, and I think Robert Rodriguez
it's not good.
has he bought and drank piss Christ because he's lost his goddamn mind. He's trying to make movies so like cost effectively and efficiently. He's like, I made this one for $8 and Johnny Depp plays 4 roles. You're like, it's not good. He's like, yeah, but cheap, huh? Like, it's like when my dad buys like a case of cream corn from the store. And he would come home and be like, cream corn. I'm like, that shit's disgusting. He's like, well, we got tons of it. I was like, you don't even like it. He's like, well, we got it. It's just kind of like, it was too cheap to not be amazing to everybody. But everyone's like, we didn't need this much cream corn. And there it sat.
This movie should just be called Cream Corn. The trilogy. But yes, Death Proof is way better than Planet Terror.
I can
you have
imagine.
Kurt Russell in it. Come on.
Yeah, and then
you have Uma Thurman's stunt double as a lead character.
From New Zealand in that one.
Yeah, his name I can't remember.
Yeah, Death Proof is gnarly. Really good soundtrack too.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It is a treasure. So yeah, that's gonna be so cool. Like I think it would be fun for an upcoming episode to find like a hot rodder in town and get them on here and talk about cars and just like the cool vibes and all that. Because like in car shows where we live, they happen once in a while, but it's typically like European cars and there's 900 MGs and it's like, oh, look how charming it is. It's like it's a little car and it's fine. And fucking super boring when you've seen 100,000 of them. No, ham. More ham, please.
What time is tea and ham?
So
it'd be interesting to chat with somebody who's either rebuilt one or does pinstriping because they're gonna see different details than the average person's gonna see. They're gonna notice that little shit that nobody else is gonna notice, and then we're gonna spread that knowledge.
And that could be a dynamite, delightful reason to get the doorbells back on, because I know they know anybody that does pinstriping or anything in this town. They know them,
right?
So just get just a gaggle of yahoos in here, chuckling it up.
Somebody at work had sent me, or it sent in the community channel of like, hey, anybody know what font this is? And I looked at it and said, is this a Dobell job? And the reply was, what's a Dobell? So that immediately made me realize that while we know them, that They
Yeah.
should be more known than
Then
just.
They should
our group.
definitely be more known than some fonts.
It's true, but it was definitely
At the
like
very least.
looked like a custom font with some Western tendencies to it,
Yeah.
little accents. But it definitely had the vibe of a Dobell. But I didn't want to assume it because they would look at it and say like, "Oh, mate, that's not that's not." Ours. And then
You wanna try that again?
Wow, wow, wow.
Oh, that's the didgeridoo. Oh, wow.
Right. So they'd say that's not ours. That looks like shit. That looks like dog shit.
And then you go, oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was yours.
Yeah, and then
You're an asshole.
and then I'm an asshole. Yeah.
Because they get very offended
Yeah.
at nothing that I've found. So I found a couple things. This was from a few weeks ago.
Do you hold on before
but
we
I-
get into this? Do you have another Mr. King?
Yes, I
comic?
do. Oh, and did I come up? I didn't come up. Oh, I came up with a name in my mind, and I
Better-
wasn't near a writing down thing, so we'll have to think of one on the spot. But yeah, I got a big stupid doozy for you.
Uh-huh.
But first, I loved this story. I saw it on Twitter. So there's this bike company, and they would ship bikes in cardboard boxes. You can order them online, and you put them together yourself. And tons of the bikes were getting damaged. Like the components, the frames, all that, because people were treating the boxes like shit. So what this company did is on their shipping boxes, they had printed a gigantic picture of a flat screen TV and then like a silhouette of a bike on it. And what they found is that when the people doing the shipping thought there was a TV in it, the bike's damages went down by 80% in shipping. All they did is put a picture of a TV on it and people were 80% more careful with it.
Weird.
I thought that was so goddamn clever, and I loved it so much because
What's
you can put whatever you want on a box.
I mean, what's the company?
Bike maker man.
TV bikes?
Well, I found it on Twitter, so it's probably
Is it-
what's the Twitter guy?
I know what
Jack?
bike that is. That's a Van Moof.
Van Moof.
Yeah,
it's electrified.
It's electric bike. They're
Oh,
expensive.
okay.
They're expensive too, and they come from the Netherlands, I believe. Because I was looking at them at one point, but they're really pricey.
So that makes sense with like an electric motor and all that. It can get really
Yeah, if
fudged up.
if you're shipping it overseas, especially with like it'll have lithium batteries in it. Those can start fires if they get damaged.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that doesn't surprise me because the company itself has some nice design, but that's really fucking smart. That's a really simple change. Instead of having to pay for extra padding or like creating new packaging, that's just a different print. And you're like, oh, it's the same box.
Yeah, they spent 12 minutes putting a TV on the box die line and then say, next time we get boxes done, when we get them printed, just do this and we'll see what happens.
And nobody's gonna-
80%.
Nobody's going to question that.
No. If anything, they're going to question, why is there a bike on it? There's a TV here.
I doubt that though, because it has the same displays of the iconography of fragile,
Yeah.
don't get wet, keep upright, and what's the
These are all the rules, by the way, of Mogwai.
what's the
If Gizmo lays down, he's fucking done.
is the two hands holding the box? Is that like cradle this shit or be careful?
Yeah, I think that's like handle with care. Breakable, keep upright. Don't show it an umbrella. It'll freak out. And take care of it.
Or the two arrows in the line just looks like a clown face.
It does.
Now that I see it, it
Oh,
just
yeah,
looks
you
like
can't unsee that.
yeah. Well, that's done.
Just like a regular clown face.
You can never unsee that.
But yeah, I thought that was clever, cool. It worked, and it was simple.
And then the first reply was damage rates fell 80%, but product loss due to theft went up 20%. What a fucking idiot.
Hilarious. And this is at crypto whatever. But yeah, the comments are like, yeah, it's going to work until everyone does it. Then it won't work. I was like,
No, that's
That's
not how
with-
it works.
but also with anything, the first one out of the gate gets the glory and it works for them.
Yeah. And a shipping company like Upus or
Lupus?
whatever
It's
isn't
Lupus,
going to be
Jerry.
like, oh, is this a bike or a TV? They don't have time.
It's like, I'm going to handle it not with care because I think it's a bike.
It's like people who drive with baby on board signs. It's like, oh, I better not smash into you doing 100. I'm going to do it at 40.
Or if you do, hit them head on because the baby's always in the back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
be considerate of the baby and smash them head on.
Here at Designers Are the Worst, we don't condone baby murder.
But how would
vehicular baby
how would
murder.
they see the sign from the front? You gotta have a sign on the front now.
You just gotta play. I mean, like Rafi, it's a numbers game.
The sign on all sides of the car.
Yeah, or like in Talladega Nights when he puts a giant Fig Newton sticker over the windshield. This is dangerous, but I do love Fig Newtons.
That movie was on the television the other day, and we watched it. Hadn't seen it in a long time. And funny thing about those movies, if you don't watch them for a long time and come back to them, they are just as enjoyable.
They are little treasures hidden in the treasure bowl. And we started watching them with the kids when my oldest was like 7. Because there's a point where you have kids, you're like, if I watch another fucking bippity boop or a dog trying to put his hat on, I'm going to fucking strangle everybody in this house and I will be justified. And those deaths will be glorious because of it. But you're like, hey, let's start looking in at that point the DVD collection and see like what's okay, what won't fuck them up, but won't bore us. And then we're like, well, let's try this because we couldn't think of anything. And then for the most part, it's fine. And then there's one part where he's going through all the sponsorships and he's like, if you don't chew Big Red, then you can fuck off or whatever. And I was like, hey, we're already halfway through. Whatever. You've driven with mom. You've heard that word before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is a good movie. Now, all 3 kids of mine, not just in general, have seen it, and they just watch it over and over again. And because of that, we watched that Holmes and Watson the other night. It was as funny as it needed to be. It was just...
I stopped it after 20 minutes because I couldn't get past it.
Watch it with my kids because they laugh at everything and they just like heighten the whole thing. It was fun
because it's not a Anchorman language. It's more dialed back. It's more PG, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sorta?
kinda. Like watch the whole thing. Like when there's characters that come in, like Lauren Lapkus, who does tons of podcasts, and she's been in like Jurassic World and stuff. She's super funny. She plays this like fucking sketched out British girl who was raised by cats and stuff like that. It's just like, it could have been called Holmes and Watson. It could have been called like John and Biff or fucking Cactus and Durango. And they could have done the same thing. It was just, it didn't matter who they were. It was just funny that they were doing anything.
I'll give it a second try.
Yeah.
See if I can get through it.
So
what are we looking at here?
I found this thing like weeks and weeks ago, and we just keep running out of time. It's this thing called outofthedark.xyz, and it's a font site, and it's the most like creative. It's a nightmare to use because it's so creative. But
that's a good precursor to something on my list.
Yeah, there you go. Oh. So you can go through and like you can
are these words. Oh,
like you can type whatever you want. It's just like
is it random? No, it can't be.
No, but it shows you the typeface in like tons of different sizes and just like all contextual. And then if you go to like,
do they only have the one typeface?
No, this is the thing. It's hard to choose. There it is.
Oh.
Licensing goods. So goods. Is this a thing? No, Campari. What the hell? Information. I don't want information. See, it is a big bite on the butthole to actually get this thing to work because it's so like, look how creative we are. Hold on, I got to restart this goddamn thing. But if you go to worstdesignshow.com, we're going to put this thing up. Typefaces. There it is.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
There you go.
So then when you choose like hammer, which I enjoy, or don't choose it. See if
it's
I
loading.
care.
It's loading.
How can you tell in Chrome?
The top spinner.
Oh, in the tab.
In the tab where it's very clearly obvious.
If this was Jurassic Park and Google Chrome was a female, I wouldn't say clever girl.
You would say hold on to your butts.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Anyways.
Tons of stuff. Oh, there you go. There's the...
No, that's not the one you picked, but...
I think I might have clicked it accidentally out of frustration.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, so...
That's a really interesting site.
Yeah.
It's a test in frustration and design at the same time.
Luckily, it's designed...
What the fuck is happening?
It's designed really like it's very cool and clean and it looks good.
Now,
So you can put up kind of with the insane.
will this work on my Palm Pilot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You have to siphon it through your Zune, but it will work. And then when you pick a new typeface, it changes all of them.
Thank God I have a Zune dongle and I can hook it up.
Looking at my Gucci, it's about that time. Yeah, I don't know what that is. But anyway, thought that was a very cool site. Outofthedark.xyz.
Those are great.
Yeah, it's just weird for the sake of weird, and I enjoyed it. And then,
I enjoy finding type sites from like independent type makers.
yeah, I like that as well.
Because usually their prices are really cheap. Well, they're like,
They're better.
$25 for a whole family,
Yeah,
and it goes right to them. It doesn't go through, another provider.
yeah.
Those are always enjoyable to support.
Then I've also found the fontreviewjournal.com.
Oh, this site's wonderful.
Yeah, it's just big, clean. Let's look at Aardvark as a typeface.
So a Windsor is classic, and it's made a comeback.
Yeah.
Everybody uses it because the A is a little bit fucky.
Ooh,
The
fucky.
lowercase a.
Yeah.
If you look on the left example, it's kind of leaning. It's
Purple lean. Oh, yeah. It's got that
down
purple
where it says
durable.
on a rattlesnake speedway, it's kind of leaning to the left. It's
Yeah.
not a straight. And then the E is tilted.
Yeah.
So it's making a comeback. That in Cooper.
Cooper, yeah.
Cooper? Yeah.
Yeah, Cooper's nice. But yeah, so if you go to
Oh, yeah.
fontreviewjournal.com and then just click around, like they have awesome examples of all the typefaces. They have like the history of it. They have different uses. Like even if you don't buy anything, just like enjoy.
So
Oh.
the new minty shamrock shakes.
Yes, there's an old McDonald's ad for minty shamrock shake, which reminds me of the Shrek Ogre Load McFlurry they came out with.
That came up in a natural conversation yesterday.
Because it's naturally delightful.
Ogre load. It's like, what? Fuck. I don't know who approved that marketing. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just show Shrek and then call it Ogre Load. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, everyone's going to like that. And kids love, I mean,
Wow.
without loads, kids wouldn't be here. Am I right,
Wow.
people? High five.
All right.
Oh, sure, another one. All right, third one's a charm. So that was some cool stuff that I found that you obviously knew about one of them, but
Yeah.
Out of the Dark is weird, fun, and enjoy it. So
Right.
whatever. Now has come the time. Our friend Jerry King at King Cartoons on Twitter, if you want to go there and tell him how much he's meant to you. I know he's meant a lot to me. So if you don't enjoy the segment, hit the bricks. If you do enjoy it, then buckle in because it's a goddamn treasure. We got to think of a name for it before we get into it.
So I mean, we were doing King's Corner.
Yeah,
It could be like King's Toilet.
he does like toilets.
Yeah. I'm not seeing a toilet in this one yet,
Or
but
I know you're a big Kevin James fan, the King of Queefs.
I want to make that DVD cover now and like just drop it into Walmart in the box set area. Honey, they got King of Queefs on box set.
It'll just be his wife in the kitchen and then him making a PU face. So, all right. So this week on King of Queefs,
King of Queefs.
come back home to you.
Oh, see, you watched it because you know the theme song, and I watched it because I know that you knew the theme song.
Yep. Stuck on the Queenborough Bridge tonight. When you work from home and you have cable, you end up just leaving that shit on all day, and you wonder what's going to happen to whatever his name is next. And it had George Costanza's dad on it,
did.
and it had Patton Oswalt on it, and Lou Ferrigno.
Right. Yeah, Lou Ferrigno was the neighbor.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm Lou Ferrigno.
Well, he is kind of deaf, though.
It's because his dad beat him when he was a kid, and he fucked up his inner ear. If you haven't watched Pumping Iron, the documentary, enjoy.
That's a
That's
a great movie.
that's
in
a
itself.
treasure and a half.
The music is porno,
Yeah.
And it doesn't match the video, but I think they're just like, oh, let's just pick this.
But it matches one part when Arnold's talking about the pump.
when he thought,
And he's
when
like-
he thought about it feels like coming.
It's like it's coming,
And you're
and
just
then I'm
coming
coming
all
in
the
the gym,
time.
and I'm coming at home, and I'm just coming all the time. And then that music is spot on for that moment.
Is pumping no pumping iron is in the video where Arnold smokes a joint. That's a different video.
Oh, I can picture it in my head. I don't know what it's from,
I
but
can't
yeah.
remember. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's get back to King of Queefs. Okay, so for the visually impaired and for the
Everybody else listening.
yeah, so it looks like there's a it is clearly a
Oh.
man.
Did we break it down for people that haven't heard it before?
Which part? The whole concept?
Yeah, so Jerry King makes these god awful cartoons that I hate. I like introducing them to other people so they can hate them as much as I do. I never saw such vitriol as I did last week when Alea was just. She spent 10 minutes like after the break just looking up Jerry King cartoons, wondering why they exist.
Oh yeah, it was like a breakup. You spend the rest of the day wondering like what happened.
Yeah, where did
And
it
you're
go
just
wrong?
Questioning everything. You're like, okay, I got to go back to this. Was it something I did that affected me looking at this?
Yeah, is there something wrong with me? Because they can't all be this bad, but God bless him. He's consistent if nothing else.
It's like the painting from Ghostbusters 2,
Vigo.
of Vigo.
Yeah.
You're confused by it. You're looking at it. It's intriguing, and you're confused.
Yeah.
And underneath is a river of slime that you don't want to get sucked into because that's the end of it.
Well, you might get squished by the Statue of Liberty.
Exactly. So,
Back to the cartoon. So this week's installment is
it looks like there's okay. There's so in the realm of context and content for a comic, there should be things that are necessary and things that are unnecessary to the scene.
yeah.
As the same with any sort of design. Like, why did you put that there? And in this depiction of a doctor's office, I'm guessing, there's a gentleman in a yellow shirt. I only say yellow because I don't know if it's part of the caption because I haven't seen it yet. He's sitting on the parchment paper bench that they put down for you. There is a stool in front of him, and I say that because I don't know if it's on purpose. And the doctor in front of him looks like he's yelling at him angrily. What is the caption? How is this related to design?
You ready to dig in? You ready to freak out?
I'm ready to take a mind shit.
The King's done it again.
The anticipation's killing me. The caption is as follows. The only part of you that's in shape are your fingers. You must check your email a lot. Fucking Christ. Oh my God. I hope that nobody ever gave him any money for anything because he deserves to have money taken away and everything bad in life should happen to him. This is so fucking stupid because, first of all, okay, so yeah, the patient has a little bit of a belly, but he's a goddamn cartoon character. Okay, so the biggest issue I have is he says, the only part of you that's in shape are your fingers. Well, guess what, fucknut? If you look at the comic, you didn't draw fingers. You drew a stick as a finger. You drew one finger. The doctor has more fingers than the patient.
It's like a toothpick. At the end of it, there's like a miniature seal flipper. Very tiny. About the size of a bottle cap.
You must check your email a lot. How does that make... none of this... on things... Okay, so this is the area of grievances.
Yeah.
This human is my...
He's a human grievance.
It's my human grievance.
Jerry King, the human grievance.
Like a child could draw a better comic than this. Disproportion, dog of shit. Oh my God. What's the point of the stool in this whole thing? There's no reason to put that much detail into a stool.
And the word detail is kind.
It's got 5 wheels. What stool has 5 wheels?
Or are they marshmallows?
Wait, some do. I don't know. Fucking hell.
So this has been King of Queefs. Jerry King, goddamn, you've done it again. At
This is
King
just-
Cartoons.
This is literally just changing into how to make Marcus or the guest angry.
It turns out I don't have to do anything
Like, I
other
want to
than
break shit right now.
Yeah, it's stupid as shit. But what a treasure. We found it's such a gift. We love you. We love you, Jerry King. King Cartoons on Twitter. Everybody go there and tell him how he's changed your life. I know he's changed mine.
I kind of want to talk to him one time. And
Oh, could we fake that we like it? And get him
Well,
on Skype.
But then just go through every comic that we could and be like, explain this. Maybe
Say-
he's taking LSD and doesn't
say-
remember any of it.
We're huge fans, but there are a few that we don't get. And then he has to explain to us why this guy's fingers are in such good shape.
Right.
And then he'll say, well, he checks his email a lot.
What do you
And
mean
I'll say,
by email?
when I check my email, I just use like one click of the mouse. Did you mean typing an email? Did you mean you must write a lot of email?
Yeah, like I don't do emails. I don't have emails. Well, what do I do? What is this?
So playing dumb and getting him to explain them, and then I can't assume it's going to end well, but we definitely need him to sign a release before we do it.
You know what's really bugging me right now is he drew a door to this room.
Yep.
I don't see the purpose. I mean, I get that you're drawing the scene, but put a handle in it. If you're gonna draw a whole stool and put a handle on the door, and god damn it, don't tile the weird floor. Show me a doctor's office that ever has is that a tile floor?
So this was Alea's issue last week, is that he takes any like sample, like texture of wood or tile or stone and just puts it like completely horizontal, no matter the perspective. And it looks horrific. And God, he's just a champion among champions. So thank you, Jerry King. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to talk about other things that bother us. Goodbye.
The French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence. There is a California champagne by Paul Masson, inspired by that same French excellence. It's fermented in the bottle, and like the best French champagne, it's vintage dated. So Paul Masson.
102, take 3. Action, please.
Ah, the French.
Willkommen back to eine Show.
Willkommen.
Welcome.
It's in a kleine Mansion. That's the end of it.
Ich habe einen Bleistift meinen Kulis gewut. Ich habe eine Schwimmbad. That means I have a pen, my pencil is dead. I also have a swimming pool. And I can count from 1 to 10. And seven is literally sex.
Yeah.
And isn't that interesting?
Sure is.
That's why they're all perverts over there.
That's why
If
they
you're
have
listening in Germany, we appreciate you.
Well, that's why the Germans have such a great sense of humor, too.
And they legitimately had somebody post on Craigslist that they wanted somebody to come over and cut off their dick and eat it. And somebody did.
Sorry, was this locally or?
Well, not here. Yes, locally to Germany.
Oh.
Perhaps in Munster.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
I think that was the episode.
Craigslist. Hey, accidentally sponsored by Craigslist.
That was an episode of the IT Crowd, I think. That same
Yeah.
thing happened. Where the character went over to the person's house. He answered a classified ad wanting to have him over for dinner.
Yeah.
But it meant it was an English translation confusion. He actually wanted to have him for dinner.
Oh,
Yeah, not have him over for dinner.
the old comma
Oh,
joke.
Germans. Oh, jeez.
Bear the monkeys. So today,
Oh boy.
if we haven't already complained about stuff,
Oh boy. Also, if you're
pretty sure we have.
if you're not prepared to just about to listen to the grievances and petty complaints of 2 adult humans,
Two healthy white boys,
you should probably turn it off.
we have problems too,
Oh, we
everybody.
got first world problems.
And we've created several of them. So
How do we want to do this? Do we want to just go back and forth? Because I know you didn't make a list because you have too many.
I have 6 things in a list. One of the items is people in general. It's broad, baby.
It's just labeled people.
Yeah, it says people in general.
Point 1, in general.
Yeah.
I have 8. Some of them were.
That's how many heads in a duffel bag Joe Pesci had.
All right.
You ever see that movie?
Was Casino?
8 heads in a duffel bag? The movie? Called 8 heads in a duffel bag.
Was it My Cousin Vinny? I'm refusing to acknowledge that there's a fucking movie called 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag. Was it called The Two Utes?
Yep, the 2 Utes. But that car didn't have pause traction. And Marissa Tomei won an Oscar. So you can do anything, kids.
Goddamn right she did.
And if you can do anything, please fix our problems that we're about to tell you. Yeah, if anybody has a fix for these problems, we're open to them, man. My first one.
Let's just go back and forth. You go first.
All right. My first note just says, fuck you, Wacom. So I can stop there or I can go on. I think it needs some context.
For the average person who's listening, they have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Or if you say whack 'em.
I don't know how it's pronounced, and they've never made an effort to educate people. So
No. And now I'm officially out of their life. For years, I've had multiple Intuos tablets. I've had a Bamboo. I've had a Cintiq.
right.
And they all, anytime a driver update comes out,
No.
it like ceases working. It just completely fucks up. So I have to keep a driver that's like 2 years old in my downloads folder, just because when the pen starts acting weird, I have to reinstall the driver. If it automatically updates itself, it just doesn't work at all. So I was curious if there's just like a cheap alternative, because also with all the Wacom stuff, I turn off the buttons, turn off the touch. I don't use any of that crap.
So Wacom tablets are top of the line, super expensive, driver issues. I should send you a gentleman.
Send me a gentleman.
Brad something, and he reviews tablets, and he reviews ones that are from Wacom and Huon.
Yeah.
There's a few different ones. And
Yeah, I've had one of their display tablets before. It was pretty good.
So how their tech is advancing is they're catching up to Wacom at a quarter of the price.
Yeah.
I should send you a site because he does full in-depth reviews. They aren't paid by them, whoever's sending them the stuff or however he's getting it. So they're unbiased reviews, and he talks about every little detail. He does all the like line tests, wiggle tests, like where the edges get fucked up, what the screen's like. And the other competitors, if you're into like a full screen tablet, are catching up to Wacom, so that you can't justify, like, if it's for yourself and work's not paying for it.
Yeah.
Don't buy a Wacom. They're too expensive.
Yeah, and so with the desktop ones, like not the screen ones, I've had this issue on every one. It's like whatever the plastic framework underneath the drawing surfaces, when you draw, it just wiggles back and forth. And it's fucking annoying.
So that's something that this guy tests all the time.
And it's like, it's made to draw. It's like, well, not if you want to draw carefully and slowly.
Yeah.
It sucks. So actually, I'll grab it out of my bag. I'll show you the one I got, because I looked up a bunch of alternatives because I was over it.
But I remember years ago, when we worked more day to day together, I remember you complaining about a Wacom driver issue continually.
Yeah.
Even
it doesn't end.
Even with the ones that weren't like a screen, it was just the pad itself, like a Bamboo.
That's what it is. Like the Intuos.
Still issues.
I bought a new Intuos 2 years ago because mine wore out. I don't even know they can do that. Right. And it was like $130. And I was like, well, that's just the cost of this crap in the last few years, and that's fine. But I'm never that happy with it.
Yeah.
So I looked up just like basically typed fuck Wacom, what else is out there? And then I found this one company called XP Pen. It's all designed in California and it's made overseas, like almost everything. And the drawing surface is 2 millimeters thick. There's no like plastic framework stuff underneath that creates all that wiggle. And it was is like $85, and then I was on sale for like $70, and then I went on to Amazon. It was on sale for $29 with free shipping. So I was like, well, I'll try it. If it's not better, fine, Wacom, I'll keep giving you money. But if there is hope out there, then I'll try it. But yeah, I'll grab it out of my bag real quick. But
And so it's not a brand name. Oh, it's tiny.
yeah, like look how thin that is.
And this works with a pen?
Yeah, it comes with a pen. It comes with with Wacom they give you like 3 replacement nibs. This motherfucker comes with 20. And like I burn through nibs regularly because I don't use a mouse because it messes your hand. But yeah, that so thin. There's nothing to it. It has none of the horseshit buttons that Wacom has.
It's for your pleasure.
Yeah, it's just the most basic tablet ever, and it was $30. I've used it for 2 days. Delightful.
Yeah, X-Pen also makes actual screen versions too.
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of different models. They look fine. I mean, with the new, with Luna right now, we have the iPad dual screen thing with the desktop, and now with the update that the iPad's going to have in the fall, everyone's going to have that shit anyway. So the display tablets are going to Funky Town as well.
Yeah.
But Wacom, they have had such a weird. It's at times it feels like a monopoly because that's kind of the only choice. Like if you go into a store to get a tablet, all they stock is Wacom. If you want to order anything else, if you want to buy anything else, you have to order it online.
Yeah.
And it sucks. So XP Pen, ordered it. It's great. It's cheap as shit. If it snapped in half, I wouldn't be bummed out. I would just order another one for $30. The pen's light. It's a good size.
Yeah.
Whatever. Micro USB and you're done.
Yeah, like I'm just looking at the Wacom Cintiq Pro 24.
Oh yeah, that's
They're like $4,000 and up. Like, granted, it is its own computer, but still, like, it's not. It doesn't seem worth it unless your employee is paying or your employer is paying for it. Then
well, if you're a digital artist and like,
plus
that's a different vibe. But for our purposes, like that's such fucking overkill.
But even the issue with continual driver issues is, you can only have that issue so many times where somebody just says fuck it.
Yeah.
Like you just said, fuck Wacom.
Yeah. And I tweeted them and said, fuck Wacom. I'm tired of this shit. And they're like, oh, please tell us more about your problem. And every time I do an update and every time it crashes, I tweet out, fuck you, Wacom.
Right.
And it's been going on for years. And they got back to me. And then I just said, no, you're out of my fucking life. I already ordered something else. Go away forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, so shout out to XP Pen, unofficial sponsor of this show until I find another tablet that I like.
Woo.
So that was me. Number 1, fuck you, Wacom. Or Wacom.
Did you put yours in order of anger?
No. It's been an angry few weeks, so they're all I'm a hot little potato right now.
Great. All right. My first one I jotted down was called Form, or I wrote as Form Accessibility. Something angered me over the weekend so much so that I almost got in a vehicle, drove to the local agency who made the site, and took a dump on everyone's desk.
That's a lot of dump.
It is.
Save it up.
1 turd for every one of you.
Just a teaspoon.
Because so I was trying to book something on my iPad.
Yeah.
Instead of using my computer, trying to do it while I was doing other shit.
Yeah. I'm pooping.
And it doesn't take a computer scientist or somebody who can
Like
talk.
Einstein.
Exactly. So when you're developing a form, you can set its form style.
Yep.
So if it's a telephone input for a phone number, you can define that. So when somebody goes to input it, it has its, one, it works great on mobile, and 2, it'll show up as an autocomplete in your computer.
Yep.
Because it's formatted correctly.
Yep.
No capitalization of emails, no spell check on emails, things like that can do it. So I was trying to book something on there. That happened through the entire process of not properly identifying things as names, addresses, phone numbers, emails. having to add my email twice, which nobody should have to do these days. Confirm your email, dumb.
Yep.
And then I went to go book, and then it would take me up to the top of the page with no errors and no reason for the issues. So,
I've hit stuff like this. Like
so
you
something
don't know what happened.
exactly. So I couldn't tell if it was a touch issue that they didn't QA, or they're just really bad at making forms work properly. So I got really frustrated and wanted to break every electronic in reach. And so I had to go get the laptop and then go back to the site, redo the entire form, which still didn't format correctly.
Yeah.
And then I hit book, and then it finally went through. But it was the most frustrating thing that is so easy to do that I refuse to accept anything but the proper level of today's standards. If I'm part of a development or somebody around me is developing it, it has to be that. I will complain and be a fucking asshole to say, the form that we have, you got to add these subfields or the input attributes that say no capitalization, no spell check, because if it spell checks my email,
It's like autocorrect.
and auto corrects it as I'm typing it, you'll create frustration immediately, and it's unacceptable in this day. So I lost my mind. So if you make forms, do it right.
And if you don't make forms, don't try. Just use a service. Use anything that, like if you have like a CMS or whatever for your site, pay the like $9 whatever it is to get like a good license to a form, and then in the back end it's just like capitalized, no capitalized, required. I want to insert a phone number, then it puts the fields all in there properly. I know exactly what you're saying, and
it can be so
when you get to the
easy.
end of a form on an iPad anyway, you're like, well, that was annoying. And then if you hit go and it does nothing but go to the top and nothing happened, then
especially when
if there's a close competitor, you'll be like, fuck these people forever. Again, fuck you, Wacom, but fuck these people forever. I will go with the next person.
especially when you're dealing with payment and you've already entered your card details, and then you don't know if it's been charged, and so you're sitting there waiting because you always have that thought in your head, like, am I going to get double charged? Are they that stupid that this would happen? So anyways, your turn.
So speaking of the double charge, just to tack on that a little bit, the gas station named Shell, which I think it was in a Toy Story movie, so
I've
I think
heard of
lots
them.
of people know about it.
Yeah.
It's a shell, and when we did the Design Jeopardy, that was one of the old logos. It was like an etched shell. Anyway, so I went to one machine, and in Canada or British Columbia or wherever we live, you have to prepay for fuel. You can't just pump gas and then pay for it. So go to the machine. It says, put in your card. I put it in. It's like, take your card out. I'm like, but it's a chip card. It's supposed to stay in. I do it a couple times, and it just says,
No.
just pump your gas and go in and pay. And I was like, that's weird. So I do it and go in, and the guy's like, no, it's already paid for. I was like, I didn't use my card. He's like, oh, I think somebody prepaid and you just used their gas. So I was like, all right, I'll pay for my gas, and then if they come back, you just give them that money back. And then I'm going to go check and see if I got charged double, which I didn't. I didn't check. I don't know if I got paid or if I got charged double. Anyway, so that went that way. Then I got gas from another shell when we were up Vancouver Island at Rathtrevor Beach, which is in your neck of the woods when you're
stomping grounds.
a young man.
Parksville.
So going through there, I stopped at a Shell. The exact same thing happened. So I pumped like $50 worth of gas. I go in and I'm like, yeah, I got to pay for the gas. And they're like, well, you have to prepay. I was like, it kept telling me to take my card out. It kept telling me to come and pay you after I pumped the gas. And then she was like, oh, well, I don't know what's going on. I was like, I know it's weird. It happened at another one. It's fucking the greatest thing that's ever happened to me because I have to fucking talk to you for 10 minutes about it because I have to keep going over it, even though I know you don't know how to fix it. So anyway, it got to the point where I was like, you know what? Here's my name and number. If there's an issue, just text me and I will give you the money. Like if it didn't go through, whatever happened. And they're like, okay, thanks. So like 2 days later, I started getting all these calls and texts from these people saying, "You stole my gas, you stole my money, you owe me $50," and blah blah blah. And then this like text chain where I was just like, I don't know who the fuck you are, but go away. Like, if you work at that gas station, this is not cool. If you don't work at this gas station, then go get fucked. Like, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
So what happened was the person prepaid for the gas before I got there.
Uh-huh.
It kept running their card like it did at the other one in Victoria. That the other time it happened to me.
Right.
So I pumped on their card. Now they came back and said, "Hey, I got charged double for my fuel. I got an extra $50." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, there was a weird accident." So instead of refunding her money,
They're trying to come
they
after you.
gave her my contact information.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so I was fielding all these texts from this fucking lunatic who's saying, "I desperately need that $50, whatever." It's like, I said, if you think I'm just giving the money I owe the gas station to a fucking dickhead in Parksville, I was like, I get no receipt. I'm not giving you my credit card information over the phone. And she's like, "Oh, just pay the gas station and then I'll go and pick up the money." I was like, "I've told you, I live 2 hours away from you. I'm not driving there to give a gas station $50.
Yeah.
And then I decided that the gas station giving them my contact information was free gas for me. I ain't paying for that shit ever. Fuck, that was great.
That's dumb.
It's weird and dumb, and it happened. So, Shell, you and Wacom, go get a rowboat and go just head off into the sunset. You guys can both eat a butt. Second one I had on my list
Wait. Go on.
is video chat.
Uh-huh.
How does 99% of people that work in offices who have to do video chats all the time
Yeah.
have no idea how to start them, have no idea that, you know what, if you are doing the video chat, know that the microphone is picking up everything. So if you want to take notes during the meeting, get somebody else to do it on their computer. So while
Click, click, click,
while
click,
people are
click, click,
talking
click,
and they
click,
go
click.
clack, 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 right beside the microphone, and then you can't hear shit.
Right.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Because nobody teaches video calling etiquette and like how to do a proper video call.
Yep.
There's no, I haven't looked to see if there's a course, but it's something that should be taught in high school.
Yep.
If you're going to be in the world of technology, you should be taught how to do it, because your first ones, like your first few video calls, should be nervous and confusing.
Yeah.
Great, you have an excuse.
Fraught with technical issues.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You've never done this before, but on and on and on. You should be more comfortable. You should prep. You should get there early. You should have things set up.
Yeah.
Granted, there's always technical difficulties, but it picks up everything, and you're going to hear people whispering. Like,
Yeah.
What the fuck did he say? I don't know if we're going to do that. You're like, I can hear you.
Yeah. Or they're the people that I hit all the time who one person will call the meeting and then they invite like 6 people, which is too many people for a meeting. And then they choose a seat furthest from the computer. No one ever says, "Hey, you all have to be around here because of the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
So just get closer." Every meeting, "Hey, can you say that again or get closer to the microphone? We still can't fucking hear you." They're like, "Oh, sorry." So anyway, I'm like, "No, don't put the laptop in your mouth. Just be like, just picture what a human would do and try to do your like a reasonable facsimile of that, you fucking donkey dong."
I felt like I was at a drive-through for a second there.
I couldn't think of any fast food items. I just,
Just making noises.
So the
So is your grievance now? Keep in mind, what is the design aspect of this? And I'm gonna bring it back.
so it is productivity, communication, all the stuff you need to get your design work done. What really, really bugs me, I mean, we're talking into reasonably priced microphones right now.
Yes.
I have the the blue snowball and you have the snowball ice.
Yes.
Yep.
Gatorade.
Although mine's white,
Gatorade ice.
not because I like cocaine, but because it was the only one they had left. So these microphones, they go on sale for $50. They come with a stand. They have, like, mine has 3 settings. So number 2 is like, put it in the middle of a meeting table and it'll pick up voices from around the table. It'll be really clear. If you're not on one, then just use setting 1 and use it like how we're using now, which is how when I'm at home or whatever, I do all my meetings. I just take 40 seconds and I plug in the microphone, and then I know that they can hear me.
Yeah.
So nobody else has a microphone. There can be 8 people crowding around like a MacBook Air with the volume turned down and the person just like typing like a fucking lunatic. So my second thing is video chat, and the people that still refuse to even attempt to think about how to do them properly.
Yeah. I agree with that. There's etiquette to it.
Yeah. And
there's-
protocol.
There's being comfortable doing it.
Were you going to say comfortability?
Yeah, I thought about it, and then my brain said, I don't think that's a word.
Thanks, brain.
Thank God nobody listens to this to fact check me.
It's a free show, guys.
Yeah, I agree. But I also would say that the tech of voice calls can be an issue in itself.
Yep.
Quite often I use Slack to do a quick call.
Yep.
Because there's no point in setting up a meeting when something has to be done right now.
Especially when you're talking to that person on Slack.
Exactly. And it seems to work pretty well, but yeah. It's a weird time to be alive.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No.
No, I'm going to go back to mowing my lawn, and then I want to go into the den and just, I don't know, what do you do in a den? It seemed like every dad had like a sweater in a den. He would just go in there and like read golf magazines and like stare at the neighbors or something like that.
Yeah, this isn't, yeah. Okay. I was going to go off on something else, but I'm going to just.
I don't mean to get off on a rant.
But you know what really grinds my gooch?
That's a Johnny Knoxville word.
It's another name for the taint.
And then when Johnny Knoxville was on Saturday Night Live, he was in like this Appalachian emergency room skit. And he said he tore his ABCs. And I said, what's that? He said, it's my ass ball connection. And I said, that will stick with me for a long time.
I'm going to skip over one that I have. Actually, I'm going to do a sprinkling of it.
A dusting?
Yeah. The Twitter update.
It's big and cartoony and gross.
It's dumb.
I feel like they made like collaborated with like Fisher Price and like it's meant for toddlers to mash giant buttons.
It's the mobile version on your computer desktop.
And then the iPad app got updated, and now when you hold it in landscape view, if you go to like the Explorer thing, we can look at news stories. About 90% of the screen is taken up by the blurry image.
I went and had a little fun and used a service that deletes all of your tweets.
Oh yeah.
From the beginning of time, and so I did because I had like 3,000 of them or something like that.
Oh.
So I used the service and just wiped them all out, including most of my replies and things, just for fun.
Yeah.
It's like, and going back, you look at them and be like, I have no reason to have these. You know what? I'm going to add to that. I'm going to add to this little piece of shit.
It's a little piece of shit.
Social. This is what really I've been trying to like spend more time away from ever looking at a social feed.
Yep.
The idea that any of these dumb idiots would think, you know what, we're going to change our algorithm and we're going to show you what we think you want to see or top posts instead of things in chronological order like how time works.
Yeah, why does that in the top right corner the sparkle motion
the sparkly
thing
magic?
I sincerely
So
your dedication to sparkle motion.
So Twitter gives you the option to change back to see your proper like timeline.
Yeah, which
tweets.
lasts until the next fucking time you
Exactly.
use it.
It changes. And then Instagram, you have no control. And then Facebook, you have control of the same thing. It's like two of you dummies are the same company.
Yeah.
Figure that shit out. And the other one, who's asking for this? Who's asking for this feature?
Nobody. No, it helps our users explore more, look at more top popular things. But the whole thing's just a fucking bag of Chinese milk.
So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to move on from that.
All right.
So my second, because it's
Also, fuck you, Twitter.
fuck you.
And thank you for allowing me
Twitter.
to tweet like 11,000 times.
So follow us on Twitter and
Yeah, at Worst Design Show.
and Instagram.
I don't know if the show follows anybody.
I don't know.
I follow the show and that's it. And I recently just chopped my Instagram following list down to 14, I think.
Oh, nice.
Got to cut the fat.
You gotta do. My huge grievance, which I've been saying,
Thank God you
for
said
years,
grievance.
is restaurant websites.
They are really bad.
The greatest restaurant website I've ever seen doesn't exist anymore, but it was a website for a fried chicken place in the South somewhere. And you go to the
South
site.
Pole.
It's fried chicken on the South Pole. It's penguin.
It's penguins.
They'll tell you it's chicken, but it's
And
not.
you'll eat it thinking it's chicken.
Well, we know.
We know it's a penguin.
And you go to the site, and the top of the page, it has their hours, their phone number, a contact, and then the rest of the page is a responsive menu.
Yep.
And that's it. And it drives me insane when somebody says, go check out this restaurant or a new restaurant, whatever, and you go to their website, and there's a menu which you have to dig for. There's no hours. There's no contact.
No.
There's no address. It's so simple to make it good.
Yeah.
Yet everybody tries to look at the pictures of our food, look at all this other shit.
Look at our gallery. Our gallery of
Nobody
snacks.
cares. Nobody gives a shit.
No, a restaurant website should be one page and that's it.
That's all it needs.
Like, look at our dining room. Like, I'll look at it when I fucking go there. Like, the thing that drives me nuts is when they split up their menu by like,
breakfast,
it's like,
lunch, dinner,
like-
drinks.
but it's like Appy's available till 5 and that's like an entire menu. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can I just see everything? I'm like, no, you have to pick a specific like region of the day and also the kind of thing you might want to think about looking at that time. It's like, just show me that if I was in there,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have like individual pages of the menu just posted all over the restaurant. I'd have to walk around and check them out. Just show me the whole fucking thing. Like, no. It's after 6. I've seen this before. It's like after 6, we will only show you our after 6 menu. It's like, what if I want to come tomorrow morning? It's like, well, then come back to the website tomorrow morning.
I've never seen that.
I saw it once and I was like, it was the most like, oh, it should be really cool because it'll show people exactly what they can have right now. It's like the people that are going to have it right now are there right now.
I also don't think that you should show the experience on the site because you're never going to match that.
No, because it's
like, just come down, experience it with your own life.
No,
And that's the experience. It's not on a site.
You're sitting in a room around other people. Just know for a fact that in about 2 to 4 hours, we're all shitting.
Yeah, because
It's like, what a graceful exercise. This is pre-shit. Oh, I forget what comedian somebody said. Oh, no, I think it was an Anthony Bourdain thing. He was talking to somebody and said, food is just feces and waiting.
well,
It was one of the guys from Joe Beef. Yeah, that was a good one.
Sure, but I mean, for like you and your family, you're not vegan, but
We
kinda
eat fish once in a while, but no.
Right. So if you're going
titty
to,
milk or nothing.
if you're thinking of going to a restaurant or you're in a new city, whatever the situation is, you need to look for something specific. And you don't want to be looking through pages and pages of trying to find out if I can even eat there or have a drink there.
And trying
Do
to
they serve
navigate
alcohol?
what they think is a clever way to reorganize a menu. Like, these
Yeah.
are Josh's favorite bites. Like, who the fuck is Josh? Like, I don't care, man. Lunch, that's a thing. Let me look at that.
Yeah. So anyways, that's my number 2, restaurant websites.
All right. Well, that is
It
well
just bugs me
warranted.
a lot.
Something that has been grinded my gears is waiting for everything, waiting for content, waiting for approval,
I was like waiting to exhale.
waiting for Guffman, waiting for Godot. Just in
I don't
how
wanna wait for our lives to be over.
What was that? Rules of Attraction. That was a good movie.
I don't
Dawson
know.
was in it. It was written by the same guy who did American Psycho.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good movie.
So waiting for content, waiting for
Replies, waiting like when everyone's like hotter than a pistol to get the work done.
it's a
and
hurry
then
up and wait situation.
But it's been 20 years now. I'm like, at one point, does somebody start running alongside me rather than just like strolling behind me, and I have to like stop every 2 days to be like, are you still coming? They're like, yep, in my own time. And then I get a mile from the finish line and they show up beside me in like a Ferrari. They're like, we got to go now, but you have to run. I'm like, fuck.
I think that's anytime you're doing client work,
Yeah.
and of course with experience too, you like every time you go into a new project, you're so optimistic. You're like, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one where it's going to be flawless. Things will be on time. There will not be any delays. It'll be great. And then you get, especially like if you work with a company that is a larger organization, you think, well, they've got to have their shit together.
Yeah.
So I have an expectation that it's going to happen. And then you get 3 weeks into a project and then you're like, oh, where's this? Like, it's going to be like a month before we get that.
Yeah, because you're never working with the company. You're just working with people that have jobs.
It's true. And you also realize, because sometimes you may think, man, I'm not organized. I wish I had my shit together. And then you work with a company or a client and you go, no, I have my shit together.
Yeah.
Compared to what I'm dealing with right now.
I'm a
and-
shining
and you're
beacon
like,
of organization.
Is anybody there doing anything? Like what is happening that you can't get me a piece of content or
So when that
decision?
that creates a weight that when you're aware of the unnecessary nature of that weight, it's just a built-in component of the project. You're like, this shouldn't be happening. As soon as you guys get panicked, you're going to be all over this, but you're going to do it such a sloppy way because you have no time left. You're going to be like, here, I gave you everything. So you gave me some of what I asked for. You basically like smeared it in hog shit and just said like, eat this. I'm like, I waited forever for you to get panicked and rushed and give me nothing. And it just drives me absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm in a project right now and my end of it is actually I'll liken it to a project I did last year. I got that like the camp counselor put his hand on my knee kind of thing, like, like I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm excited, I'm scared. He's big, but let's see where the night takes us. But we had a few meetings with this company. It's like, oh, this project's coming up. It's a big one. And then I was like, the words they were using were I've heard them. It's kind of like the old pattern. Like you go back to an abusive boyfriend or whatever. Like,
Right.
So I felt like, I was like 26. My name was Shirley. And my blind date just yelled at the waitress. And I'm like, oh, this guy's going to fucking clock me later. So I started raising my hand. I'm like, okay, so here's this. All these things will create potential weights. I'm going to organize absolutely everything. You guys have to fill in the blanks because we have a gnarly timeline. And if we have any chance of hitting it, you guys have to just play ball. And whether it means that you get behind in your own work, that may just have to be the case in order to get the work done.
Yeah.
So I organized and all, did it all. And they kept being late. They kept turnaround time. And like within 48 hours after that, momentum like has a giant like giraffe dick in its eye. Like it screws it. So 2-day turnaround would turn into 3, would turn into 5, would turn into a week. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey guys, all the agreements that we made, you're breaking all of them.
The other part of that too is that things are planned based off of known timelines and known expectations.
Yeah.
So when all those things start getting pushed back and you're waiting, then it all starts to collide with everything else that's going on, and then you have too much happening.
Yeah. And there are 3 things in this situation that never change every time. My frustration, typically the clients, lack of sense of urgency,
Mm-hmm.
and my timeline doesn't change. My deadline remains the same
Yeah.
all the time. So, yeah, I mean, just know when you make people wait, they're not waiting just in a ball on the floor until you're ready to get your shit together. We have to fill in gaps. We have to, continue to make money while you're exploring what it means to write in a Word document for 3 hours one day.
But it's also it's a bigger conversation, because what it comes down to is what I see it as valuing people's time.
Yeah.
So because you and I have both been in these situations, anytime that I'm booking a service, say it's a plumber or whatever, we're agreeing on a time, and I make sure that I'm there and giving them the full attention that they need for the entire time that they need, because their time is as valuable as mine.
Because if you miss that window, they're not coming back later today. You're gonna have to wait like 2 weeks. Like be there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so any situation that you've been in, or any person that's listening who deals with booking time for people, understand that people's time is valuable, and just being wishy-washy and like not considering it is bad. It's just it's poor etiquette, and it shouldn't. You should man up to those things and stand by them,
or woman up, which is fine nowadays.
Exactly.
Hey, it might even be better.
Because I think, like, if I was a thousandaire or 100aire, and I had money to, say, like, pay somebody to build a custom house.
Yep.
I would want to pick out everything first. And then I give that to the contractor. Then I know the costs. Then I know the timelines.
Yeah.
Not be one of those people that 4 weeks into construction, you're like, oh, we changed our mind on something.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know how frustrating that is? It affects timelines for everyone involved.
Yep.
Changes budgets, but there's some people have no consideration of that.
No.
But it's a good place to experience the shit, because then you won't give that to somebody else.
That is super true. I love being the customer or the client in any business relationship.
Yeah.
Because I make sure I go insanely out of my way to be like, I've prepared 900 things for you. What would you like? They're like, this one. I'm like, great. Or like with the old bully offices, like my old company, when we moved out of there, I filled in all the holes in the walls. I repainted everything. I scrubbed everything. It was done. And because I knew that when they came to do the inspection to give us our deposit back, I wasn't like that concerned about the deposit. I just didn't want to waste their time by being like, oh, I didn't really clean much. It's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
So the guy actually said, this is cleaner than when you got it. I'm like, yeah, this is how I would expect it to be when I move into it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you want to rent a spot from us fucking anytime, anywhere. You're like, nobody does this. And it's just, the whole process took 3 minutes. And he's like, I'm all right. I'll see you later. I was like, good. Your job is done because I did my end of the bargain.
What it even does, I mean, I don't know if this has affected you at all, but I like to be punctual for appointments. If I'm booking a time, I like to show up. Like if I've got a flight or I have an appointment with a dentist or whatever, I like to be there ahead of time. I know I'm early. I know I can't get in early, but I like to be there ready.
For me, 10 minutes early is on time.
100%.
Yeah.
And
because you never know what that 10-minute buffer might get you on the way there. Like any number of fucking things can happen.
Shit can happen.
Or you can sit there and just stare at your fucking knees like an idiot for 10 minutes and have some quiet time.
But sometimes they'll say, hey, we can take you in early. And then you're out of there earlier.
Yeah.
But your time is as valuable as theirs. And it's the same thing. Like if you were late 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that fucks up their day and their scheduling. Yeah. So then they look at that negatively. They might not want to work with you or book with you again.
Well, so they won't give you the real medicine.
I worked with somebody who quite often for like morning meetings would show up 10 minutes late repeatedly. And it was like, come on, like we're waiting. And so you got to get on that shit.
Because 5 minutes waiting in a group with everyone waiting feels like 4 hours because it just gets like, we all got shit to do.
Not everybody notices it, but if you're in the industry, you should notice it. Or any sort of time booking. It doesn't matter who you are. Anyways,
Yeah. So
that's a good one.
there you go.
I like it.
But one small thing at the end of it is unfortunately people in positions like ours, we get good at that truncated window to get shit done, and we just get it done no matter what, typically. So I had one today, 2 months of prep time for other people to get me stuff was just squandered, and then I got a little bit of what I needed, and it's like I just have to go for it. And then I presented it the whole thing today, and the client, who wasn't sure what his reaction would be, he looks kind of buttoned down. He looks kind of just like if you drew like a businessman. And then he saw what I made, and he went, "Fuck yeah!" I was like, "Okay, that was pretty good." So,
And then his ponytail popped out.
yeah, of his zipper, his longest hair I've ever seen.
His back zipper.
We called it the shit zipper.
He was a brownie. That's great. My number whatever. You're going to relate to this one. And this is a frustration and confusion. And I don't know. Maybe the industry is news, but
Is it the gap between seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh.
Because that does bother me.
ugh,
I have a feeling
rough.
it's not.
What I do is I take a lot of drugs and then I
Yeah.
watch it. And it feels like I've never watched it before.
Yeah.
Is because the cannabis industry in Canada is almost a year old now. We're coming up on the first anniversary where
Spocktober?
where edibles, drinkables are coming down.
October, they're legalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a beef and I have an issue and I have a grievance with cannabis packaging because
Hashtag.
I get like you have a better insight into this, what's going on in the States probably, but in Canada at least, it's very it looks like medication. It's very simplistic. It's like tobacco in terms of they've classified in terms of the packaging. Like, sure, you can make it a color, but there has to be more warnings and advisories on it than the logo itself.
Yep.
But yet, beer and every other alcohol has free reign. But yet, I mean, I drink and I smoke
Yeah.
the Mary Jane, but
Reefer.
in the terms of deaths by which substance,
Oh, I thought you said by witch. You got killed by a witch.
yes, by which
Death by witch.
alcohol leads.
Yeah.
But yet it's way less stringent on its labeling and packaging. It's
Yeah.
more fun of like what cool shit can we do? Whereas cannabis is so restricted,
Yeah.
but yet the deaths, I haven't seen any stats of any, or if there is, they're so much lower than
Yeah.
alcohol.
They're not enough to type them out.
It's
So-
not. And so I don't understand why they classify it as such a restricted, dangerous substance and labeling and packaging and alcohol gets the free reign.
So with cannabis, because it's so newly legalized, they're in this period of like, we got to lock this shit down before our citizens go insane. Also, just for context, the population of Canada is less than that of California. Even if we all went insane, we're not really hurting anything. Like, you'll stop us by Montana. We'll be done. But it's in this like infancy where they're being very careful with it. Over time, it's going to get relaxed. Like, there was a time where if you went to like a government liquor store, you had to walk up to the counter and fill out a form of what
Wait.
you wanted.
When was that?
When my dad was of drinking age, you'd walk up to the counter. There was no no marketing. All of the alcohol was in a back room, and you walked up, and there was some dude. His name was probably Ron, and it was a clipboard that had a form, and it's like, I want a 24 pack of Molson Canadian, and I would like a bottle of Merlot and whatever. And they take that form, walk in the back, go pick all the shit off the shelf, come back out, and then you buy it.
It was like a KMS Tools
Yes.
shop.
Exactly. So there was a point for booze where it was really restricted. You couldn't even see liquor when you walked into the store. And now it's like, this one has a free t-shirt, and this one has a nightlight, and this one comes with like a condom
Right.
or whatever. but it took a long time to get there. And I do feel like cannabis is going to come along as well. Although
Well,
for the smokable products, they like the packages I lay out, they have 14 unique health warning labels, and those, because of a smokable product, it's always going to be like cigarettes.
right.
So you're never going to have really attractive
Mhm.
packaging. Well, not never. It's going to take a long time to get attractive packaging, which is why a lot of the companies, what they do, and I do this too for clients, is they do something called display packaging. So when you go into the store, there's like an empty box that you can make look however the fuck you want.
Hmm.
But that's true, not true. You can't have anything like people, animals, anything that we misconstrued as a mascot.
Animals.
Animals. You can't have any animals. You
Because
can't.
animals are smoking it.
You can't have a skateboard on it because it constitutes a vehicle, and we can't condone people getting high and going skating.
What about like a Capri Sun?
As long as you don't ride it, you can do whatever you want with it. You could put a Capri Sun on there, but yeah, it's really locked down. But they put out these display packaging, so when you go into the store, you get like a feel for that company's vibe. But when you buy that legal product, it comes in that plain box,
Yeah.
that one background color. The logo can be no bigger than the inside of the octagon of the THC symbol on the front.
Yeah.
All the shit has to be visible. So no matter how cool that packaging is, you say, I'll take this, and they hand you basically a I Heart Weed box, and they say, get out. And it is a bit anticlimactic because it's not cheap.
It is, but it also could be. You could look at it the opposite way and say, like, I mean, there is a label bias when it comes to alcohol, and it's
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you don't know anything about like wine.
yeah.
I just go to the Australian section. I buy the coolest looking label for the price I want to pay, and like, here, thanks for having us for dinner. I don't know if it's bad. If it is, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah. I remember I found an article where they tested this, and for wine it didn't make a difference, but for other alcohols it did, to make the label look cool.
Mm-hmm.
It also depends on your background experience, because I'll
Yeah.
prefer a wine when the rare time that I buy them based on the label.
Yeah.
And I've bought wines that like just like, holy shit, that's a cool label, and be like, oh good, it was good good wine.
Yeah.
But I can see that with maybe they're going like the President's Choice, no name brand
Yeah.
way, and like I would kind of sometimes I wish for that on beer, where it's
Yeah.
just like beer, hoppy, or like IPA, and then there's no
Well, it's like that movie Repo Man, where like Emilio Estevez is like hanging with the punk rockers, and in that movie, all the beer is just a white can in blue. It just says beer. They buy like cans of food. It just says like soup on it.
right.
It's great.
Well, that's the no name brand
Yeah.
in itself, like cola. That's all it says on it. It's yellow.
Dixie Champagne.
And so there's a side of it that I would love to see at the same time for alcohol, where it's just like wine, beer,
Yeah.
and it says who made it, what it is, the alcohol percentage. That's it. Like that's all you need.
Yeah.
If they're gonna do it for one, do it for all.
Yep.
Is all I'll say.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we'll see what happens with weed, but right now it's they're treating it as a drug still, and because you can't go into a restaurant and order a glass of weed, it's not like
Not
socially
yet.
cool yet. Not yet, until that place opens around the corner. That
Yeah.
Trees, they're doing like a smoking lounge and stuff in town, and it'll get there. It's just it's got to get through this growing pain, and whatever.
Yeah. That's it. What you got?
I got under my category of people.
It's it's bad when you've categorized them.
Yeah. So my first instinct was valid, and then my second instinct was also valid. My first one was other designers.
Huh?
I've met like a handful of other designers that I get along with, and then it's the ones that put on like the big show about everything. Like whenever they're sketching out an idea for a logo, they have to take like the perfect photo of their hand drawing with like all their micron pens laid out and be like, man, so blessed to be a creative at heart, or whatever. It's like go jerk off in the mirror. This is the end result you're looking for. Go take out whatever you have and just run it until it's out of fuel, and then just just dead stare yourself in the eye in the mirror. It's the same result, but we don't have to look at it.
Have you met other designers recently that have rubbed you the wrong way, or is it just like a general online impression that you get from
In
the
person,
design community?
so this is where it comes into. I had one feeling about it, immediately followed by another one. Is that a lot of the in-person interactions I had with designers in this town? Bunch of them are good, a bunch of them were whatever, and a bunch of them were like, "Oh, this is so fucking douchey." Like you want this job so you can tell people you do this for a living. I like this job because I like solving problems with pictures, and then I go home and I pretend I'm a robot and play with the kids or whatever, because they're robots and it makes me feel better. But what I also realized is that I haven't. So like 12 years ago, I started a design group called Renegades in town.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it on Facebook, and when I handed the keys over to somebody else, because I just wasn't into it anymore. I think there's like 11 or 1,200 members, pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I haven't met other designers in a really long time, and there's like I'm forgetting the ones I knew, and I've been so like sequestered for some reason, and then I just haven't talked to any other designers. And like I'm not going to go to like the early morning meetings like let's all talk about fucking coffee and our haircuts. Like I don't like that stuff.
I did go to one of those that you were talking about, and I didn't enjoy it. I mean, granted, I don't like networking
Things
either.
or people.
I don't like networking because I don't get anything from it.
Well, you're not looking for work.
No, and that's the thing. Like outside of this little fun time that we have and work,
It's a little fun time.
I don't talk about design to people because it's boring to people.
Well,
Because your grievances and your complaints and things nobody's interested in.
yeah.
Like some of your friends who have other jobs, they're not going to talk to you about what they do and think that you might find it interesting. It's like no.
Like
nobody gives a shit.
Like, isn't it frustrating when your contract developer refuses to pay for the upgrade to the newest version of Sketch so they can open the file you created? And they're like, what?
Everybody can relate to
Like,
that.
oh, fucking that old trope. Like, easy, man. But yeah, it's
Oh man, Illustrator crashed on me again today, and I had a file called final design _ recovered version 2. Oh man, you know what I'm saying, right?
yeah, high five.
You totally get this.
Yeah, so it was funny. My initial reaction was based on online, like reading articles and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I don't follow anybody on social media, but
Brag.
things hashtag update. Things pass by and people forward you things or whatever. So my almost like after 12 years of having or 10 years of having that group, and I gave it away a year and a half ago or whatever, like all my design interactions were with real people.
Mm-hmm.
And then now mine is just like once in a while I see people that are going out of their way to be seen, and I'm like, fucking designers, but it's really the people that are just trying to be seen. There's still normal people out there. I just don't know where they are anymore, because I checked, they're not in my living room and they're not in this room. Sometimes they are, but
Yeah.
it's just being out of touch. So I think my complaint is being detached from the industry so much that I don't know who anybody is. Or like when we were talking about Chip Kidd
but
last week or 2 weeks ago, and LA is like, you don't know Chip Kidd? I'm like, I don't know anything.
Well, I mean, there's lots of other designers I don't know. I've
Yeah.
never heard of, but that doesn't make you worse or better as a person or a designer. I think what I would like to know is in other creative fields, whatever that might be, like, is there the same issue? Because that's the thing is like, and here's where it gets debatable.
Yeah.
Is that you can become a designer of websites with no education, with no training.
Yeah.
You can just do some shit online,
Hey,
and
you tell me I can. That's what I did.
which is what I mean. You did that with some other courses and stuff. Didn't you?
I
can't remember.
I signed up for courses and then I didn't.
You took books.
I
That's
didn't,
what it was.
I didn't buy any books,
That's
and then
right.
I didn't go to class, and then I stole books later.
Right. So, but you can't
Allegedly.
just do some online YouTube videos and now you're an architect and just
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a freelance architect. I'm doing some scope or some spec work for
This building's going to be a code.
people died. Oh, whoops. I
How
learned
many
a lesson there.
how many emergency exits do we need?
And I wonder if it's because it's an uncredible
Me fail
Yeah,
English. That's impossible.
creditable. You know what I mean? Like it's
Unaccredited.
Oh Jesus, that was the word I was looking for.
By the end, it felt like 3 words.
God.
Jump out your window.
Because it is that word you mentioned. Is that what makes it the people like that? Because I think of like an engineer or an architect. Is there architects that are posting? Are there architects who are posting pictures of like, check out this post or this like column I designed in
Probably.
CAD? I don't know, and I doubt that though.
But when people are taking like the third picture of their cup of coffee that day, there has to be other professions just like
You shouldn't follow those people.
no. Oh, I
If you're
don't.
seeing that.
No, I think we both know who each other are talking about, and I don't follow nobody no more. But the
I don't, and I'm glad I don't.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So just looking at the volume that people post at just to be seen, just like the Anthony Jeselnik thing, like, hey, don't
goes-
forget about me.
It is that. It's this weird. It is a weird thing, and it's a weird. It's a whole other thing of like the culture that we're in.
Yeah.
Of the look at me.
Yeah.
And your Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes of Fame type of thing.
Which for me is 14 too many. Like, fuck off.
And what are you really getting from posting stuff? Like, are you getting work, or are you just after because the likes and retweets, they make you feel good inside?
And that's got to be it, because it's like, oh, way to go, cutie. Nice logo. Like, looking awesome, like winky, whatever head.
I posed a question to my partner. It was just a random thought I had of like, the world that we're in right now, if all the social media networks were just gone, something happened and they're just gone tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then all these people have no way to post things, what's happening with their lives. They're no longer an influencer. They're no longer shit because they're not on a social media. What would happen? And I started to think about like going back to before social media, like what we did is like, we didn't do that.
No.
We had our network that we met people physically or via a chat room or something like that.
Yeah.
And you kind of established a deeper connection because you really wanted to, and there are those groups and communities, whereas now it's just so toxic everywhere you go, and anybody can do anything on there, and it doesn't mean anything, and so people crave that shit. So I try to treat it now as if like, it's stepping back from it as like, well, think of it if we didn't have it. Like,
Yeah.
what value does it add?
It's like everyone has like a confetti gun now, and we're just shooting it straight up into the air. It's like we can't see the clouds, the sun, the trees, because there's just so much shit. But when you're talking about like what did people do before, it reminds me of one of my favorite stories of my wife's grandfather that passed a few years ago. Is that they were all having like Thanksgiving dinner or whatever when my wife was a little kid. And then they were about to eat. He's like, hold on. And then he got up from the table and came back. He came back with like a camera. Like, what are you doing? He's like, it's just such a beautiful meal. I want to take a photo. And he took a picture of the table, and then I took a picture of his plate. He's like, I'm going to want to remember this. I was like, that's so gangster to be like, this pork chop is fucking the tits. I'm going to want to look at this pork chop later and just like think about like the deliciousness of it. But he had to go and get the camera, then he had to go get the film developed, and then he had to hang on to the picture of the pork chop, which is stupid.
Yeah.
But you had to go out of your way to take a picture of your food, and everybody looked at you like you were insane.
Yeah. This is kind of on that topic. do you know of the gentleman Kyle Webster? He made all those Photoshop brushes. That's what he was
Yes,
originally
yeah.
saying. And now he works for Adobe.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
He gave a little chit chat at some, I think it was the 99U, which is Adobe
Is
as
that
well.
Yes.
And it was the whole topic.
Or is that
about,
the Behance one?
no, it was different. I don't know. Adobe owns a lot of shit.
I
But,
decided to interrupt your story
It's
to
fine.
clarify something that doesn't matter.
but he gave a talk on being bored
Yeah.
and how you should be bored more often. And he started the talk by just laying on the stage and not saying anything, just staring at the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then after like a minute or two, he's like, okay, cool. I didn't do anything there. I was just looking at the ceiling, looking at the lights. He's like, I hope some of you were bored and didn't check your phone. And so he was talking about some of the ideas he had that came to life because he was bored and had no screens, had no anything, and didn't post anything, nothing. And it's fascinating when you remove that from everything and just get back to being in your own brain and being comfortable with being bored and not feeling the need to post stuff because you crave likes or it's not a proper community anymore. The internet is generally toxic for the most part.
And that's the part that, in bringing up the like, I'm mad at other designers. I'm like, I'm mad at the image of them put out to the world that crosses my desk once in a while. It's like, oh no, I used to talk to like a ton of real people about it, and they're all just chill, regular motherfuckers, and we were just like complaining and stuff, or asking questions, or be like, oh, that's celebrate good times, come on, or whatever. But then when I removed myself from that group, I got really choked at how everybody is online. And I'm a hypocrite because I post crap all the time, but really it's just to get something out of my head. Like, it's almost like maybe my kids one day will want a record of like, what was your dad like? It's like, oh, we only have 45,000 tweets he wrote. Let's just read through them. And then
all of them are cryptic.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
like the Da Vinci Code for hot dogs. That's what it is.
So then, like, I'm a hypocrite and I put stuff out, but I never put something out, be like, wow, I hope somebody really likes that, because I really put a lot of thought into that. Like, when nobody likes anything I put up, I'm like, yeah, like, everyone hated that. My genuine thought they did. And I take it as they disliked it by not liking it. And I like that because it wasn't supposed to make them feel good.
Right. It's kind of almost the same mentality I feel about any sort of product or service. Bear with me. If
I'm bearing.
because people are more inclined to complain than to compliment.
Yeah.
If you don't hear a compliment and you don't hear a complaint, then consider it a success.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take more effort out of somebody to actually say, like, this is great.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job, over somebody being like, you fucked up. This sucks.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
Speaking of complaining, we're doing a whole episode on it right now.
It's wonderful.
And it's easy as hell.
Yeah.
We'll never do one praising anything because it'll be our only show under 4 hours.
So your original comment was, other designers?
Yeah.
That's
And
what it was.
then I realized it was the lack of genuine interaction with other designers.
Right.
And then I was like, I'm an idiot. But it still ate up like 20 minutes. That was pretty good.
I mean, and like, I don't hang out with really any other designers except for yourself.
And we rarely talk about design unless we're doing this. Like, when we hang out, we
But
don't.
it's never in a serious fashion. It's like,
So like, yeah.
like, hey, look at this dumb thing that I found on the internet. Or it's like, hey, does this make sense? Or does this look like a penis?
Yeah.
And
be
that's
like,
the extent of it.
if it's supposed to look like a penis, it makes perfect sense to me.
But I enjoy having friends that aren't in the industry I'm in,
Yeah.
because then we have to talk about things that are common and not so specific, and then you get so set on that. It's just kind of like having a work friend. All you're going to end up talking about is work.
Yeah.
But if you strip that away and actually had to get to know each other, it'd be very uncomfortable and wouldn't happen.
And a true living nightmare. It's
Exactly.
Like, it's like when you're
It's how I
you're
feel
at a-
about high school reunions. Don't
Oh,
go to 'em.
I've never been to one. But it's like when I have to talk to like another parent or something at whatever thing a kid is doing.
Yeah.
It's like, so you like hockey? I go, nope. They go, you watch Game of Thrones? I'm like, nope. They're like, I'm going to Tim Hortons. You want something? I go, no. They're like, fuck, this guy. I can't crack him.
I like knowing what other people are doing with, like, I'm more interested in other people's jobs than I am of my own, and
Yeah.
what other people in the industry like.
Yeah, you're burnt out on your own.
I like one of our friends. He works for BC Hydro,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the first times I met him, I just threw a bunch of questions, as many as I could, about power lines and
Yeah.
hydro, and because I know nothing about it, I don't want to know more, and that's interesting to me. I don't want to talk about design.
No, but then there is that nice, like when I started Renegades like years ago, it was nice having a common language with people. The conversations, like we used to meet every month, the conversations would always start off design based, and then 2/3 of the way through, everyone would have a couple more drinks, and then everyone would just start laughing about whatever.
Yeah.
It's like everybody vented, and now we're all just hanging out.
Well, so I don't participate in threads, forums, Facebook,
Mhm.
and that sort of stuff, and so Slack is the only chat,
The only girl for you?
the only one for me. And I posted in. Have you heard of a thing called Coho? And it's just like a prepaid Visa card. It's Canadian, and you get like money back on it. It's been around for a short period of time.
And in
So-
Canada, we have to name everything after a fish or a bear or a
but
bird.
it's spelled with a K instead of a C.
Ooh, coho.
And I put a question in our water cooler channel at work saying it was very clear. It was, has anybody used this? Does anybody use this service? Is there anything I should know about it? Red flags, or has it been a great
Yeah.
thing the whole time? And I put a link to the website, and it started like a multi-page or thread
fucking
of
Slack.
people talking about banking fees.
Yeah.
And not a single person had actually replied to my original question. So I just deleted the whole thing. It's like, this is why we can't have nice things
This is
anymore
why
online.
we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Because nobody can actually focus on the original question, and then they make it about their experience and the what about me.
And then everyone starts being like, oh, I'm going to post another GIF. And then all of a sudden we're all face down in the toilet bowl, just gasping for air because we're just in fucking... I left a Slack channel the other day at work because somebody like installed some robot thing where you can be like, hey, robot, tell me a joke. And it replies with a joke.
Cool.
Hey, robot, tell me a classy joke. And I did that. And I opened Slack. It's like, you have 34 notifications. I was like, that's about how much I get in a month. So let me look. And it was just these people just playing with this robot thing. And I was like, leave channel because fuck this.
Robot, tell me about herpes. And then leave that in the channel.
And then the lights go down and jazz starts playing. Robot starts smoking.
Let me tell you the first time.
Her
I had
name was
herpes.
Beth.
She was
Like-
she was a toaster,
Eddie Murphy was
a
right.
smart toaster.
You do keep this shit forever like luggage.
So that was a good one.
Yeah.
I think I got one more in me.
Yeah. And then we can do a quick break. I have a quick quiz for you after the break, and then
Oh.
we'll shut it down.
Okay.
After all this complaining, I thought we should wonder if we should actually be designers. So I found some handy quizzes.
I mean, while we complain, this is an episode about complaining.
Yeah.
It's like I still like what I do.
Yeah.
So my final one that I'm going to go off of is I went specific on one thing, but I think it's more general content, and it is related to what we do. So
Yeah.
it's about website content. And on the topic of illustrations, pictures of happy people, stage photos,
Yeah.
I think we should just stop,
Yeah.
because I've never been to a site or a service where I see an illustration of a blobulous human interacting with a square with squiggles, or a happy customer interacting with an employee, and that made me go, I'm going to try them out. I enjoy a site that just shows me what the thing does, tells me about it, and that's it.
Like the Font Review Journal. Here's
You-
a font. Here are the details. Here's some uses.
Yeah.
Go away.
Like Dropbox's current website does an okay job, but then throws in art for the purpose of art.
Yep.
And what kind of also is part of that is some of these Silicon Valley companies like Dropbox have money to pay artists to do shit like that.
Yeah.
But to me, it adds no value to the actual context.
Yep.
It's just eye candy, and that's it. But it doesn't help convince somebody to sell a product. It's like at the end of the day, this is a whole larger thing, and it's on top of the restaurant website thing. Give me text.
Full circle, man.
I can read, or pictures that make sense to what I'm doing. I don't want to see hypothetical, metaphorical things that really don't add value.
Yeah, when we were renting space out of the Metal Lab office years ago,
Yeah.
and if you don't know who Metal Lab is, look them up. They design massive things for massiver clients, and they do cool work. But they had written on a whiteboard, it said, make it work, make it pretty, make it work better. And I was like, oh, that was like the guiding process for what they do.
Right.
And it wasn't like after make it work better, now make it prettier. It's like, we already made it pretty. Now we improved how it works, and now we're done.
Yeah.
I was like, that's solid methodology.
I also think it has to do possibly with the amount of time that I'm looking at websites, and
Yeah.
Everything comes back to time and the value of time. And
Yep.
my time is valuable, and I don't need to be looking at other shit, and I don't need it to be loading animations, or if your site has to load, I'm out.
Yep.
It's not going to be worth it
No.
because it's just not.
No, it's more jerking off in the mirror.
We should just go back to tables and
Chairs.
get table format website with chairs.
We should get a table in here.
We got
And
one.
chairs.
It's kind of big.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I'm done. I'm
All right.
I'm spent of grievances.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and I have a quiz for Marcus, and we'll see if he should, in fact, be a designer.
Oh, nope.
I'm very confused. I just need a chance to think things over.
You've had your whole fucking life to think things over. What good's a few minutes more gonna do you now?
Stay with me. Please. Don't hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay away from me.
Wendy,
Stay away.
darling, light of my life. I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'm gonna bash them right the fuck in.
We're back to the show. Welcome us. Here we go. Hello. Hope you enjoyed whatever music or old sound stuff we put up.
Maybe it'll be music from The Shining, or
Ooh, that'd be good.
mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a funny rap about The Shining. I know that rap is a very easy music form to make funny.
I don't know who created the new It sound or it's like a score to it.
Yeah,
The one that's like, wah, 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 wah,
I
wah.
didn't see it.
I mean, the movie itself isn't scary. It's good. I really
Yeah.
like the remake, but the score of it, I like a lot.
Is it freaky?
I don't know. It's got some creepy sounds to it.
One of my favorite soundtracks of all time has got to be, if you could put them together in like
Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
Romeo and Juliet's high school reunion. If they could come up with like the double album, the first disc would be Punch Drunk Love soundtrack. And then the second disc would be There Will Be Blood soundtrack.
No
Words, just weird, delightful, beautiful music.
I haven't watched Punch Drunk Love for years. I think I watched it once when it came out.
Oh,
I think is it on
face
Netflix?
melter. It's
If
on
it's
everything.
not, it's on
Fire.
And the second one, There Will Be Blood. I've never seen that, and that's a Daniel Day-Lewis movie.
It's
Is that the oil one, or he's the butcher?
if
or
he
the
said
cutter
he was
guy?
an oil man, you would agree. The butcher one is
I don't get that reference.
Gangs of New York.
Oh, right.
But There Will Be Blood, it's like perfect. Like I watch it while I'm working. I just have it on my iPad on my desk, and I just have my headphones because I've seen it 2,500 times. I know what's happening, but then there are points where I'm like, I'm certain to like look down because I'm like, oh, this is when he does it. This is when he like fucks a guy up in the mud or something like that, and it just makes me feel good.
Right. That's kind of how I feel about Inglourious Bastards
Yeah.
and Django Unchained.
Yep.
Both, yeah. The dialogue is what hooks me in every time. I'm really excited for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood
Yes.
because I've also heard it's his last film.
Well, he's the kind of guy that would say that.
He would, but that's one thing. If you don't like Quentin Tarantino's movies for whatever the actors and actresses or the way it's filmed, but the
4,500 N-words in Django.
Yes,
That took me out of it a bit. They were making too much of a meal of it. They're
I
like,
know.
and they could have shaved 20 minutes off that movie just in N-words, and it would have been a lot easier to watch for me.
Yes, I agree. But the overall dialogue of his movies is what I always get sucked into, and I like that. It does remind me of older movies, and as I've started to watch a more variety realm of movies, I've started to actually pick up on influences that he's pulled into his movies that he pulls from, which is really kind of fun.
Yeah, and he's one of the few directors that like full on is like, this scene is like a love letter to like Steven Spielberg or whatever it is. He's just like, he loves movies so much. Like, I hope this isn't his last movie because he made an agreement with Uma Thurman on the set of Kill Bill that if in 25 years or 20 whatever years, if everybody's into doing a third one. So Vernita Green, which was Vivica A. Fox, her daughter who comes home on the bus.
Right.
They said, if everyone's still into it,
when
she's like 27, we'll do a third one and she's coming for Beatrix.
Right. I remember reading about that.
That would be rad.
Yeah.
So I hope it's not the last one. I hope it's there's at least one more, but yeah, that what's it called? Once Upon a Time. Well, wait,
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep. Easy for everyone to say.
Anyways,
all right.
So how did we even start fucking?
Great question. We have a game, everybody. I have no idea.
It's a game time, and
actually, it's not a game. It's a quiz, kind of a game.
And I know I've seen nothing about this. It's like a Jerry King comic. I know nothing going into this.
No.
It's 100% surprise. It's like an audio clip from the Basher Brothers.
Which is delightful.
Yeah.
And loud.
It's unexpected.
I'm gonna turn that down for sure. Yes. Okay, so after we talked shit on a lot of the aspects of our job, I want to know if Marcus should be a graphic designer. Now this quiz thing, whatever it is, I'm captivated by something about it. Anyway, if you go to worstdesignshow.com and check out episode 17, all the links and crap and whatever are going to be all in here. But this one has been gracefully brought to us by Crystal Whitlow, Design and Illustration. I would have chose to center that logo, but that's just me, Crystal.
She's Crystal, a graphic designer and creative blogger. What does that mean? Is that she blogs about the creative industry or creative blogger? And sometimes it's words, sometimes it's not.
So Crystal has thoughtfully put together Should You Be a Graphic Designer quiz, which there's absolutely no way that a creative blogger would do any kind of clickbait. You can tell because of the stock photos of a marbly notebook with a porcelain bowl of gold paper clips that everybody would for sure use.
When the real notebook is tattered, worn out, and it's a pen that you found.
Yeah.
It's not it's a Bic pen.
Yeah. So so we're gonna learn a little bit.
All right, here's a beef I have with the newsletter form. First name is the label of the input. Then there's first name in the input.
Yep.
You don't need that.
But
It's
then
repeating everything.
But then email address is your email address. Email address also is followed by a colon. Last name, first name are not. And then also address is not capitalized as name is in last and first name.
Consistency. And I always
She's
have an
creative.
issue with fields or forms that have first name and last name. It should just be name or full name. Like, come on.
Eat a dick.
Because what about Oprah? How is she going to fill out this form?
Yeah, Crystal, what the fuck? All right, now I don't want to do this. Give you the fucking satisfaction. Anyway, follow them.
Do you got what it takes to be a graphic designer? Learn if this career is right for you. Find out now. So we're going to find out.
So I'm going to ask these questions. What we're looking at is a rectangle of a color.
So what would
what would you call this color? I'd call it vivid tangerine, peach with exclamation mark, pink. What else would it be?
Well, I wouldn't call it pink because it's not.
Nope.
I might call it peach without the exclamation mark, and I would never call it a vivid tangerine because that's a paint color, not a digital color.
Yep. So you're going to go with peach?
Yeah.
I don't know if it tells you. Oh, all right. I guess we'll get the score at the end. So now what we're looking at is a GIF of Joey Tribbiani of a lady with hands.
The actual question is your reaction to this font. It's
Papyrus.
Otherwise known as Avatar.
So, okay. Your reaction to this font, Papyrus, Mamma Mia. And so what's your reaction? One is Joey Tribbiani, gasp, how dare you use that font? Shame on you. Second one is a girl who appears to have two functioning arms. It says, oh, it's okay. I like it. The third one is a rectangular man. Looks like he has pants of some kind.
Could you just
it
say
says,
SpongeBob SquarePants?
It's just a font. And the fourth one is, oh, no, you didn't. Shout out to the dog pound. What do you think?
I'm going to go, because I know what the answer that they're looking for.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go, it's just a font. Has its purpose.
Marcus is hacking the planet, Crystal.
Never being used.
All right, your reaction to bad kerning on CW Design. The choices are, is it Tony Shalhoub saying OCD senses are going crazy?
Is that from Monk, I think? It must be.
It must be. That's actually a little glimpse into my life. It is a living nightmare. The second one is a yellow penis, and it says, what's kerning? And the third one is a Britney Spears lookalike saying something is little off. But what? So what's your reaction?
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck those things are called and not just a yellow penis.
Mignon.
That's
in Louisiana, they're mignon.
Right.
Mignon oignon.
I don't know.
Louisiana mignon.
Well, I know that something's off. Of course, I'm not stupid, so I'm not going to pick the Britney Spears lookalike. I'm not going to pick what's kerning because I know what kerning is. But I don't have OCD about it because I don't care. So can you skip?
No.
If I had to pick one, just go with Britney Spears.
Look-alike.
Yeah,
something's a little off. But what? I think the quiz is a little off.
No, we're still going.
All right. A vector graphic is, and this, well, they're really like baby shit. It says a vector graphic is the guy from Despicable Me, and that is, I think his name is Vector. Yeah, and he's a bad guy. The next one's Winnie the Pooh with a color-changing shirt saying something with Photoshop or Illustrator. I don't remember. And the third one is that the girl from the Pirates movies?
I have
Miss
no idea.
Swan? Maybe.
It's three different people. I don't know who that
and
is. But
unlike the woman from the previous one, we don't know if she has functional arms. But it says vector graphics are computer graphic images that are defined in terms of 2D points which are connected by lines and curves to form polygons and other shapes.
Well, once again, I don't agree with any of these because I actually had to explain the difference between a vector and a bitmap to somebody who knows nothing about graphics and what I was talking about. And the way I described it is, if you zoomed in on one has pixels, and the other one is mathematically created to be sharp at any size.
Yeah.
And they understood that.
Yeah.
That is dribble barfing out of an explanation. I'm going to go with Winnie the Pooh. Because
something with Photoshop or Illustrator.
I don't like
remember.
the third answer. I disagree that you ever need to say that much shit about it.
And I would have a very hard time believing Crystal fucking rattled that one off the dome. That's a Wikipedia lookup if I ever seen one. All right, Winnie the Pooh.
Goof.
All right, the client is always right.
No.
I want to make them happy even if I do a ton of revisions. I'll give in and do what they want even though I know that my idea was better. Of course, number one rule.
Pass.
Big American hot dog.
Pass. What's the least correct choice here? Because I don't.
But
I
they're
don't know how
all
to
the
pick.
same thing.
They're all the same. So
Crystal, you need more dimensions to your personality, girlfriend. I don't know what to
you know
tell you.
what? For the sake of this hilariously incisive quiz, I'm going to go. Of course, number one rule.
Number one
But
rules.
for the record, that's wrong.
All right. So perfection, I guess, define it for you. The first one is another yellow man in pants, and it says, as long as it's done, that's what's important. The second one is Jim Carrey typing in The Shining, saying, I'll do my best in the amount of time I have to offer. And the third one is
Mr. Clean.
the angriest I've ever seen Howie Mandel. He's beat red. Says, I will never give up. I will make my designs perfect, and everyone will love them.
Great. So this is two angles. One is this is your job, and the other one is this is for yourself. So I'm going to go with, as a job, SpongeBob. Or no. Jim Carrey Shining.
All right. And that is, I'll do my best in the amount of time that I have to offer.
Because I do stand by the it's better done than perfect.
Don't let perfect get in the way of good.
Because I'll even have conversations with developers. I'm like, if it's off by pixels, I'll notice it, but the client won't, so I don't give a shit.
Yep.
And they're like, great.
Yeah. Can you move that one pixel over? No? Okay.
You got this. Dive in to start learning about graphic design. I passed.
Oh, you got cat GIF. You can do it. Bezier. Okay. Bezier curves may confuse you, but with a few courses, you can totally become a graphic designer. You love being creative and you want to use your creativity full time to help people and businesses stand out. You enjoy learning about blah, 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 blah. Start making beautiful branding products with CW patterns, designs, and clip art. Well, Crystal, you click that link and it's missing fucking image.
Oh, that was the best part.
Oh.
So
Man,
I'm really glad I passed that test, because if I didn't pass it, I was really questioning whether I should even be doing this anymore.
Well, you have Crystal's blessing, and that's really all we need.
Wonderful.
So listener questions, we had one. Get into it quick. It's from my friend Alain Champagne, which is a very fancy name. That's his real name. It's Alain Champagne.
Is he from the California French? It's fermented and vintage dated.
He's a vineyard man.
It pours the same.
Stop looking up. And this one was from a couple episodes ago. We just kept talking, ran out of time. But it parlays into what we're talking about today, which is complaints. So at Designed by Creatures on Instagram, check out Al's work. He does beautiful stuff. He's a very nice boy as well. I've known him since he was like 18. He asked me out for coffee to see if he could be if he wanted to be a graphic designer, and he wanted to ask me about it because he liked whatever I had on my website.
Yeah.
And been friends for like a dozen years now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, motherfucker. And he's going to be on the show next time he's in town. So Sweaty Vetter. I booked him. I told Sweaty Vetter.
Rat King.
Oh, the Rat King is on a whole other level now. But I told him that when he comes on, we'll go on to Apple Music and we'll just look at all the new releases and talk shit on the covers. And he's like, I'm down for what's up. So
there we go.
The Rat King will be coming soon. We don't know where and we don't know when.
I can't wait to get that insight.
He's a sneaky motherfucker. And I know you're listening. So, at Design by Creatures on Instagram asked, what was good and what was bad about being a corporation? Do you know any small corporations at work? Now, Al knows that Bully was incorporated. It was not my decision at that time. My business partner and I decided that I would handle the creative and he would handle business. And he's like, we're going to be incorporated. And I was like, okay, whatever. There's a bunch of lawyers' fees. There's like incorporation fees, all that kind of stuff. When you get into it, and then you get shares in the company. But if nobody wants to buy it, then the shares are worth slightly less than the paper they're printed on. So then when he left, we got into a different way. Like it cost a bunch of money. It didn't do anything for me. It takes away personal responsibility from like a person running a business, and now the corporation is the entity that gets fucked. Although I have a feeling if it's a one-person corporation, they'll just come right after you. So anyway, I didn't see any benefit in it until we talked to an accountant and somebody at Revenue Canada, and they said, do you take shareholder loans, like payroll loans, or do you take a paycheck? We said, well, we take a paycheck. He's like, take payroll loans. You can do that with the corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, every one of your paychecks is just a loan from the company. And then you don't have to do a full payroll for it. So at the end of the year, your company will say, you know what? We've loaned you all this money throughout the year. What we're deciding to do is we are going to gift that money to you as a bonus, and you don't have to pay that back. And we're adding on top of that all the tax that you would have had to pay on that money. And you actually get taxed at a far lower tax rate.
Interesting.
So your paycheck is a loan that is never meant to be repaid, that your corporation forgives at the end of the year, and they give you an additional bonus to pay your taxes, and you get like, I think it was like 9% less income tax or whatever it was on
Right.
it.
Right off the bat, that seems questionable. No.
The dude from Revenue Canada walked us through it. He's like,
Right.
This is why people incorporate.
That's really interesting. I know nothing about incorporation
No.
or syndication, for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the only benefit, and what was the cost to do all that though? To incorporate,
I think it was like
paperwork?
$1,500.
Oh,
So when you do that, you can also do something. It's called a holding company. So you create another corporation that your corporation pays this corporation, and then you take money out whenever you want. And then instead of getting taxed at like 29%, you get taxed at like 8%. But then it just feels like Cayman Islands level shit at that point. But I've been told it's all legal and it's above board.
right.
But so if you are planning on making a lot of money, you don't want to pay very much tax, or if you're wanting to build a business that you can sell off shares to investors or whatever, you want to bring a partner on and make them feel they're valued. So you give them, 10% of the company shares or whatever it is. Totally valuable. If you're one man pony, just making pictures for friends and stuff, I would say just keep it mellow.
Mm-hmm.
No need to complicate it, just because every year you have to do corporate year-end tax, and that costs money. So the money you save, if you're not making a lot of money, will go to keeping the corporation's paperwork in order.
Mm-hmm.
So sole proprietorship would be my recommendation for a man such as yourself, Al. If you want to grow to like a 30-person company, which there's no fucking way Al does, because he's not a 30-person kind of guy. Because he wants to do all the work. He wants to draw, and he's awesome at it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd say just sole proprietorship, pay your taxes, and I don't know, drink your milk, eat your vitamins, say your prayers,
Brother.
grow your hair really long on the sides and back, and nothing on top, and rip your shirt open.
Sometimes it's not a choice.
It's a calling. I agree.
I have nothing to add to that question because I have no experience in
All right.
corporation
So-
or running a business. So I only do side work
Yeah.
with clients on smaller projects for fun.
I like that you don't call it a side hustle.
Well, that would be implying that I'm hustling people,
That's true.
and I don't hustle people.
So when people say my side hustle is I wait tables, that's just a job.
Then you're stealing from people. I charge people accordingly. a fair rate to what I value myself. And if they don't like it, they can take their business somewhere else.
Oh.
And if they do like it, they will pay me.
This all checks out.
End of story.
So that's it for today, everybody.
Promise.
Limerick, Ireland. Fucking get it together, man. Get in touch.
Who is that one person?
And you know it's you. And I know you listen this week, man. Or lady. Or I don't know if there's Siamese twins or something. And there's one of everybody. It doesn't really matter. Limerick, Ireland. designersartheworst@gmail.com. We'll Skype you in and you can be on the next episode. If you got the stones, which I know is a unit of measurement for weight over there.
They measure people by Blarney stones.
And-
How many Blarney stones do you weigh?
That man's 7 horse hands high.
He's 8 potatoes and 1 Blarney stone.
He's 0.4 horses. So, thank you, everybody. Thank us, everybody. Thank us, everybody, for listening. It's fun to do the show, and it's fun that you actually listen, and more people listen now, which is good.
Yeah, and a promise that the next episode. This is the grievance episode was a buildup of multiple things over an extended period of time. So there might not be another grievance episode, but if there will be, it won't be for a while, and it'll be.
Oh, there for sure will be, but yeah, it won't be for a while.
It'll be just little dashes of it.
Because we could legitimately do this probably every week.
I mean, this started as
And the most negative show ever.
an idea of. I mean, it's based off of Festivus.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
Let's get real.
We don't have a. I mean,
Let's
there is metal.
be real.
There is metal poles of some sort in this room,
Yeah.
but we're not having it on display.
No tinsel.
You got to hear my grievances.
Actually,
You gotta
the
listen.
The lamp I brought in.
That's technically a Festivus pole.
Yeah.
with
All right.
lights.
But no, Frank says no lights, no tinsel, just a pole.
Just
All right,
Kruger.
we got to. Before we do another one of these, we'll workshop it and we'll get the correct pole. So, if you listen, and if you're curious, like maybe you want to be a guest, maybe you're some secret designer in the Adobe kingdom, and you want to be on the show and tell us how things actually work there, or I don't know. Maybe you're fancy and successful and people know who you are, and you want to tell us that we're wrong about half the stuff we talk about. You're right. So email us or at designersartheworst@gmail.com, or get in touch with us at Worst Design Show on social things where people share media.
And we're not sponsored. We don't. This is all cost to us.
Yeah.
So come on and say whatever you want.
We are beholden to no one. If you haven't been paying attention, we don't give a ton of a shit. And it's kind of fun just to go nuts. And even if you want to come on as like top secret insider, we'll come up with a fun name for you.
Yeah.
And you can just talk shit on whatever. So designertheworst@gmail.com or at Worst Design Show, where you can follow all of our crap that we do. We post the topic for the show we're going to record that week so people have time to ask questions and tell stories and whatever, which works out most of the time.
It's an average of like 0.75 questions an episode, which is
no one bats 1,000 except for
that's pretty good.
they called me Jose.
And I'm Mark. And then that means that we're done.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody. Check out worstdesignshow.com where we put up all the pictures, links, all that stuff. We also have links to our playlists that we put out every episode as well, for just everybody needs new shit to listen to when they're working. So give our shit a try. I remember, making pictures for a living ain't that bad. And if you think it is, then you are the worst. Arrivederci.
Arriba.